Hello everybody, my name is Deltlead, and welcome back to the fourth part in our live streaming series of Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. So, in our last video, we rescued our brave Kerbals from the surface of the moon, and we accomplished a bunch more tasks to advance our efforts. Now, we've got a bunch of satellite contracts that I picked up that we're going to knock out. So, observational surveys of Kerbin, sure. We've got a rescue mission. This will be my first priority, is let's go up there and get this guy down. And then also, we have 1, 2, 3 satellites that need to be launched, one that needs to be adjusted, and some surveys that need to be performed. But first, we'll start with the rescue mission, because of course, that would take priority. Rescuing our fellow Kerbals. Oh! Okay. The game crashed. That was unfortunate timing. Everyone stand by for 1 second. I'll reboot it up. It shouldn't take too long. It didn't even give me like an error message. It just ceased. The game ceased for a second there. But it's coming back up shortly. In the meantime, my cats are watching me from the corner of the room, all suspicious-like. Being all weird. Alright, well, while we wait for the game to load, let's talk a little bit about my strategy here. So I want to build a new rescue vehicle that's a little bit more comprehensive than the one I was using before. We did one rescue mission. We gained one new Kerbal for our roster, and that was great. But I think we need a more formalized, standardized template for rescue vehicles than the one we used in that last stream. So I'm thinking a 2-man crew using the 1.875 meter diameter capsule. We send Jebediah up and leave the second seat empty for the crew. But my other concern is if we have missions where we need multiple Kerbals rescued, then we might want something with a bigger budget. We might want like multiple variants. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air right now. We'll see. We'll see what we decide on doing. The other thing we can start thinking about is once I unlock the hypersonic tech, is starting to move into space planes as an option. We could start looking into the feasibility of them and making them a thing. I feel like we need to unlock a few more engines or fuels. But long game, right, is we're going to start gearing up for our futuristic tech. So our long-range engines, our nuclear engines, our fusion engines, all that stuff. That's going to require a couple of missions to Duna, to Lave, to Eve, to Joule, all those different kind of things. And we're going to need better comms. So there are many interlocking pieces that we're going to need to kind of push at simultaneously, as well as just funds for our program. So, you know, this is a tall order. And we're kind of getting into the mid-game where, you know, you do all your expeditions to Minmus, to the moon, to various locations on Kerbin, and now you need to start really gearing up for the big missions. Let's just check. Yep. All of our missions are the same, so we're going to go back to the VAB and try for the second time to build a rocket. Here we go. So what I'm thinking for this standardized rescue template, in order to save funds, we'll use the Mark II command pod with a parachute. If I can find the parachute. There we go. We'll just do EVA. EVA to get back, that's fine. I'll purchase this. This is actually the first time I'm really using this command pod too, so that's fun. We use this. Whoops. Nope. There we go. And then fuel tanks. We don't need a ton. That's the wrong size. There we go. And for this, my beloved cheetah. Now, I kind of want to throw some RCS on this bad boy. So we'll go fuel tanks again. I'm going to grab these balls. I'm going to tuck them under the skirt. because the skirt is a good place to hide stuff. And I think that's why they have the skirt on this, is it's a good place to hide stuff. So we've got RCS fuel tanks under there. Now we'll add the RCS thrusters, command and control. We're going to buy the smaller ones. We'll put some here and some here on the skirt. Okay, communications is important, but not so important that we need to do anything crazy. A simple dipole antenna on the side is all we're going to use for that. And that will be our... Well, we'll want some electricity as well. A couple of solar panels to keep us charged. That'll be the top of the rescue vehicle. Let's build the base out. I'm going to keep it relatively simple. We'll use the Bobcat twin engine and then just a large enough set of fuel tanks to keep it fueled up. And that'll be about it, really. So 1, 2, and then the Bobcat. Now, is that going to give us the Delta V we need? I think it will. Yeah, it will. That should easily get us into orbit. So we'll do KSP LKO Rescue. This is the low curve in orbit rescue vehicle. I should get to anywhere inside low curve in orbit with relative ease. And yeah, that's about it. We could throw some boosters on it, just a couple SRBs on it. We really want to stretch the performance, and if we really need to stretch the performance, I can add an extra stage. We do the 3-stage one, but that'll be it for now. Let's take it out to the launch pad. We've got Jebediah on board. He's going to be the pilot for the mission to go up and rescue our stranded Kerbal. Now let's take a moment to find the Kerbal. He is Debris Kerbal is Davy Kerman is right there. And I'm actually going to give him an opportunity to swing around. Till he's about there. Turn SAS on. Throttle up. Check my staging one last time. Light the engines, and we're off. Okay, so Debris is behind us over here. We're going to try and catch him as he passes overhead. I might have launched a little early, but that's okay. We'll sort that out when we get there. This rocket should have no problems with control, as we have quite a bit of authority with these engines, the way they're configured. We'll just start accelerating up. Go prograde. His apoapsis is 88, which should work for me. My apoapsis is rising. I'm going to go ahead and lock those two so I can keep eye on them. And we're looking good so far. Going to go ahead and pull back on the thrust a little bit here. Try not to raise my apoapsis above his right now. I want to keep our apoapsis as close as possible. Okay. Alright, so we're up. We've got plenty of Delta V now, and my apoapsis is 125. That's a little high, so I'm going to go ahead and dial it back. There's my intersect right there. Oh, a little too far. Let's take docking mode on. RCS on. Oop, that was the wrong button again. Fuck, what's the forward and backward for RCS? I don't remember. Roll. Down, up, right, left. That's throttle again. Okay, hold on. Retrograde. Turn RCS off. Hold on, I need to fiddle with this for a little bit. Okay, let's go to our ascending node. Oh, let's go to descending, actually. Lock normal. Okay, that's about on plane. Let's go radial in. Radial out. I'm just working on moving this intersect in closer. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. There it is, right there, right there, right there. Alright, that's close enough. We can switch to target mode for the rest of the rendezvous. Let's shut down the engine. Oh, it is shift and control. It is the throttle. But my engine was on, so it kept firing the engine. Okay, well, we figured that out. That's great. Let's go ahead and time warp a little bit. Get closer to the intercept here. We should be relatively close. Let's lock retrograde to target. That's going to take a lot. Just burn the engine. Do a very light burn here. Okay. Purge the engine bell and start our approach. Here we go, coming in close. RCS enabled, docking mode on. Probably could have used the larger RCS bells. But it's fine. Alright, RCS off, lock prograde, activate the engine. We'll use the main engine to do the arresting burn. Time warp as we approach. And near perfect. Let's switch over to debris Kermit. Oh, we have a new pilot. Oh, excellent. We have a new pilot, everybody, which is good because it's just been Jeb doing all the piloting. And he needs a pilot buddy. Oh, easy, easy. All right, our friend is on board. Let's just look for our preferred reentry, which should be right about here. Retrograde. Fire the engines. Separate, and we're done. All right. Now, it is a textbook re-entry. Nothing crazy here, nothing fancy. We're just bringing Debris and Jebediah back. Let's view them inside the cockpit. There is Debris Kerman. She is a brave pilot, replacing Valentina on our roster. And giving Jebediah some support. He has been the only pilot on the team for a while now, and well, he's got a lot of missions under his belt, but it's starting to take a toll on him, you know. He's starting to make some mistakes. We can watch this, actually, from the cockpit, which will be fun. One of these is going to show me altitude, right? That's vertical speed, radar altitude. There we go. All right, parachutes activated. We're falling. 2,000, 1,000. There, okay, there's altitude right there. There's our parachute. And we're down under the chute. There we go. Are these buttons clickable in here? Alright, well, we are safely down. I can recover the vessel. And voila! We have another Kerbal on the roster. Now, you might think that the value of that mission is just in the payout, but no, the value in that mission is the payout plus the 100,000 extra credits it would cost to hire an astronaut. And Debris comes already at level 1 just for being in orbit, which is double dipping in my opinion. Alright, so we have that, which means we can also go on to our satellite contracts. Now, we've got this standardized sat launcher, which we've been using. I'm going to open it up again. Not Lunar Ranger, not Lunar Rescuer, not Escape Probe, CurbSat 3 maybe? This little standardized launcher has been working wonders for us, so we're going to keep using it. Build a new unmanned. It has to have a Science Junior on it. Oh, they all require Science Juniors? Okay. Alright. We're building a new one. That's unfortunate, really. They all require Science Juniors. So these new satellites, this new generation of satellites requires more equipment to function the way they want it to. It's also requiring a mystery goo. Almost all these require a mystery goo and a Science Junior. One of them just requires a Science Junior. But we're just going to include a mystery goo on each of them, because we're already going so far as to put the mystery goo. We might as well just put the other hardware on. I'm just going to put, yeah, one of each. These aren't super expensive, only 880 extra. And it's fine. Like, it really is not going to break the bank here. We will go for the full-size small fuel tank. And once again, the spark engine. Now, that really gives us a lot of Delta V to work with on these satellites, even with the addition of the Science Junior. For electricity, I think 3 of these will work. For communications, the relay antenna. There we go. Get it to snap. And then for electricity, we'll use the smaller voltaic panels, like so. So this will be the satellite once deployed. Pretty basic, but I like it. I think it'll work very well. And these solar panels will not lose power at any point. So that's our solar, our probe, our satellite that we're going to be sending up. Yeah, I don't think I want to change anything on that. I think that's fine. So, let's build the launcher. We're going to use a TS-06 stack separator, and then the 18.75 meter fairing. This can be just a straight up fairing right there, like that. And then for the fuel, we'll take this one with a cheetah, which is actually a relatively inexpensive engine. Not as cheap as the Terrier, obviously, but cheaper than a swivel, so it's really not too bad. For coupling, just a regular decoupler, and then we'll add our big fuel tanks. 1 and 2. And then the Bobcat. This is actually going to be very similar to our rescue probe. We'll call this CurbSat 4. Because we have CurbSat 3 up there. And I need to rename that because it's already got the wrong name. So it's got Science Junior. This one will be Minmus. We got a geostationary and a polar. Let's do polar. So PolSat 3 will be this one. Well, actually, hold on. KSP Sat Launcher Template. Save. Now we'll rename it to PolSat 3 and launch it. So the template will be saved as the KSP Satellite Launcher Template. That way it's easy to reference. But then this particular satellite will be PolSat 3, and we're going to go for the polar orbit first, which I think is very eccentric, if I recall. Yes, it's extremely eccentric. And we are launching at an inopportune time. Can I access? No. No, I want to access. No. Damn it. Okay, hold on. Revert flight, revert to vehicle assembly. We're going to go back to the launch pad real quick, or to the building real quick. Take it off the launch pad. That was a good dress rehearsal for the launch, everyone. Good dress rehearsal. Let's rewind for a second, and we need to get the Kerbal Space Center under the actual satellite launch trajectory, right? So we want to launch polar right here, which means we need to be under that, right about there. Okay, leave facility. Launch now. Launch right now. Time to launch. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go to the launch pad. Whichever one was auto-save just now. PolSat 3. There we go. Yep, PolSat 3. Launch. And away we go. Okay, on the launch pad, throttle up, SAS on, and launch. And I need to go south. This is an inclination of 180, so we're going south. And a little bit west. Let's go a little bit west. Okay, looks good. Okay, first stage is expired. Periapsis is 227, so we're going to focus on getting up to that first. And we're a little off, but we're not too off, which is good. Okay. Fairing is deployed. Let's go ahead and extend our antennas. Our relay our relay dish is already on. Oh, look at that. And we got Periapsis lined up pretty much right on the money. Now we just got to push our Apoapsis way, 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 way out there into this super eccentric polar orbit. So what this polar orbit will do, and you can do, if you do this with a couple more satellites, you can do some interesting things. You can basically have continuous polar communications coverage with like 3 satellites using a configuration like this, which is pretty neat in my book. And it just relies on the fact that the loiter time during this arch is so long that your coverage time is very good, and then there's very little downtime. Let's go back to prograde here. We finish the burn, and that'll put us pretty much on. We may have to do an inclination change, but it might be close enough even without an inclination change to call it good. Ah, it is close enough. Perfect. So we can go ahead and separate. And that's our satellite. Am I on the wrong contract? What did I do wrong? What? I'm off? Oh, I'm too far. Okay, I about freaked out. I was like, no, did I forget something? It's fine. It's fine. The staging pushed us a little past target orbit. That's fine. That's a quick, easy fix. Boom. All right, so 1 satellite is deployed. That's Pulsat 3 right there. I'm going to dodge my upper stage here very narrowly. Would hate to damage my hardware here. Rename. Nope, that's good. Pulsat 3, it's marked as a relay. Go to the Space Center. Look at that. First satellite is in orbit. Let's look at the next one, geostationary orbit. And then one of them wants to be directly above. So the geostationary orbit directly above site TFR6 Charlie. That one's going to be a little tricky. But we can do it. So let's go to the launch pad. Let's find Polsat. Polsat 3. And let's launch that bad boy. Oh, wow. We're all the way up to 4 viewers. That is exciting. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We are launching satellites for money. We are making some money for our program because we are close to broke with some major upgrades that we made to the station. We've got to get some money. All right, so our goal is to get in a orbit, east to west, geostationary orbit, and station keep right above this site, which we can absolutely do. So let's go ahead and launch our rocket. Let's get going. Try and get my vector set up to go prograde. Go prograde. Throttle down. Not that much. Okay, so we are on our initial launch. There goes Alpha Station above us. And look at that communications network we have set up now. Beautiful. Let's just do our path. Don't need anything crazy for this. Oh. Okay. Went a little off target there for a second. That's all right. Thrust to weight ratio is still looking good. Apoapsis is climbing. We're going to have to get just up into orbit first, and then we can worry about getting into geostationary orbit. If I'm short, the short explanation is if I'm behind, I want to be below my target orbit, and if I'm ahead, I want to be above my target orbit, and then eventually get onto the target orbit. It's obviously the end state. Let's real quick burn radial in to force the circularization. Okay, now we're in orbit. Let's burn a little prograde. So 2863, 2863, 334 is the target. Let's just make some adjustments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thrust limiter on this to help me get some better precision. That is close enough, but I will want to fine-tune this eventually. The good news is that we are very, very close to target. In fact, we are pretty much at target. Let me raise my thrust limiter up here. We are as close as we need to be over the target, which is good. So 2863, 334. 2863, 334. That's enough to meet the contract's requirements, but I actually do want to get this a little closer if I can. Let's get periapsis up. So I'm going to, again, go to that thrust limiter. Also, deploy the fairing, for goodness sakes. There we go. And let's extend the solar panels, get this actually set up. And let's go ahead and deploy. We'll set the thrust limiter on this little rocket, and we're just going to set it down nice and low. 2863,334. Lock with stability assist. We're going to burn radial out. Three, 335, 326. That's close enough. Apoapsis is close enough. And we've already met the contract, right? So we've already done the contract requirement, but I want perfection for this. I want actual geostationary. Two 86334. Oh, 286333. Okay, so I just need like at the target. 286557. Okay, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. 28557. This is very, very near circular, which makes this next part tricky. 58. Seven. We're gonna leave it at that. That's close enough. That's geostationary. We'll rename this Keosat 2. Head to the Space Center. That's 2 satellite launch contracts completed successfully. And we get the moolah form. All right, we're at 433,000. That's great. Let's go look at our next contract. So we need to position a satellite-specific orbit of Minmus, and then adjust Moonsat 2 orbit. Minmus. Okay. The current satellite that I have, that I've been running, should work. So we'll call this Minsat 2. This will be our next satellite to go up. Minsat 2. We'll launch it. That Cheetah upper stage has so much delta V, it's crazy. For these small payloads, it's the perfect carrier for these small payloads. And I love it. I love it so much. All right. Throttle up, SAS on. Tweak the staging real quick. Call it good. Launch. Just go straight vertical. Now we pitch over. Lock prograde. Let her rip. All right, so that's going. Let's zoom out and find Minmus. There she is. Set as the target. Oh, hold on. We got to do a flip. But we recovered it. Because I am an excellent pilot. All right, we recovered our flip. Let's throttle way down. Throttle way, way down. Basically idling. Just a wee bit of thrust to keep us sliding up there. Go ahead and deploy. Let's get the antennas out. Or not the antennas. The antenna's right there. The antenna is out. Let's get the solar panels out. Okay, we're in orbit. A little sloppy there in the middle, but it'll work. Let's go here. Add a maneuver. Start planning our maneuver. We can also filter the relays. Get rid of those. There we go. And those. There we go. Clean up the map view. Too far. Much too far. Let's just get Apoapsis out there and touch it. It's not giving me any rendezvous. Well, let's get on the plane. Okay. Let's start with the plane change maneuver. And then let's do our burn to Minmus. There we go. That's intercept right there. Okay, time warp to the first burn, and then we've got a second burn scheduled after that. One for the plane change. 10-second burn, 261.8 meters per second. Locked normal. And we're locked onto it. Start the engine. Good enough. Warp to our next burn, which should be prograde, and it is. On it. Time warp up to it and light the engine. Here we go. So there goes our probe full speed. We can see it start to accelerate towards Minmus here. Minmus way out here, moving 274 meters per second at 46,000 kilometers. Got a long burn to get all the way out there. Long distance to cover, but that's okay. This engine has all the efficiency we need. We'll chase down the last couple of meters per second of delta V here that we need. Okay, that's good enough. All right, what's our Minmus approach look like? Let's focus view here. Lock prograde again. Whoa. All right. Sure, that'll work. Let's start by getting us captured. Not that much. Not that much. Not that much. (209, 274). Good enough. Time warp to it. Our satellite is now inbound to Minmus. on its 11-day journey. Most of that time is spent right here, where it's going so slow. And in that time, we're actually accumulating science from our surface-deployed science stations, which are working quite nicely. And we've arrived. Let's lock retrograde. 5-second burn, 166.4 meters per second to get us captured here. And once we are locked on the heading, would be very shortly. There we go. Light the engine, start the burn. Close enough, that works. Now let's work on our ascending and descending nodes. So we're ascending here. So I'm going to click right about there. Add a maneuver. We'll burn nope, we'll burn normal. Uh-oh. Problem. We need to flip our orbit all the way around. All the way around. Because we are orbiting the wrong way, fellas. Alright, this is going to cost us a lot of Delta V, but that's okay, because this stage has a lot of Delta V, just like I designed it to. Good enough. A 6-second burn to completely force our orbit the other direction. Pretty sweet. Mostly retrograde, but slightly off retrograde here. And that slightly off is what's going to correct our plane change. We're locked on. Let's time warp to it and launch. Okay. Looking good. Throttle down for this last little bit. Alright, that's good enough. I'm locked prograde. I'm going to go ahead and burn here. We'll go radial out. That's good enough. Go prograde and time warp around. Now, the advantage of this orbit, right, is at all times it is visible to Kerbal, which makes it good for communications because it stays visible through its orbital swing. Makes it good for missions where I've got, you know, some craft on the other side of the planet. What am I missing here? I'm not within marginal deviation, I guess. Well, that didn't help. Let's stage separate now that we're mostly here. This upper stage will be easier to maneuver for me. Let's start by going retrograde and kill off some of this extra energy. Now, I want to burn radial in to rotate. Nope, radial out. I want to burn radial out here. Sorry, I'm remembering orbital mechanics again. Radial out. And that'll do it right there. All right, position satellite specific orbit of Minmus. Yeah, we've accomplished that. Our satellite is in orbit above Minmus. So let's look out here. Let me look at the other relays that are operational. Minsat 1, And now we have MinSat 2. Great. Head back to the Space Center, baby. Another successful mission. All right. So some days have passed here. Let's see if we have any new missions posted. Satellite in equatorial orbit of Kerbal. Okay, that's an option. Surface outpost on the moon. Okay. Test this cryogenic dual tank on an escape trajectory out of Kerbal. Another geostationary orbit. These pay good, and they give science too. So, you know, these are good missions to take. Explore the moon. Dock 2 vessels on or around the moon. That's a tempting option as well. Test the TD-18 decoupler at the launch site. Yeah, sure, we can do that real quick. Simple mission. Position Moonsat 1 in an adjusted orbit of the moon. We could do that. Before we do anything else, let's go adjust Moonsat 2, because I know I have that contract still outstanding. Needs to get accomplished. Where is it? Moonsat 2. Go down my list. There's Moonsat 2. And then we'll look at Moonsat 1. I know Moonsat 2 has fuel on board for these kind of adjustments. I think Moonsat 1 does as well. We shall see. We'll see when we get there. Okay, what kind of adjustment are we talking about? Just a plane change. That's easy. So let's go ahead and grab our descending node, add a maneuver. $68.9 meters per second delta V. A small portion of our budget to make a slight adjustment to this satellite, and we're good. I forgot how zippy this thing is. It's got a lot of control authority. Okay, we'll just time warp towards the burn, and that should be it. Maintain stability for 10 seconds and we're done. We ball. We are balling. Let's switch over to Moonsat 1. I just want to verify that we do have fuel on board for maneuvers. The contracts don't check to see if you were smart and put fuel on your stations. This one does. So we are in luck. It does not have the reaction control system, but we can take the contract to adjust it. That'll be easy money as well. So they want us to dock 2 vessels in orbit around the moon. We could do that. We could build our lunar research station. I kind of want to put the station there. But let's start with this one. Also, let's go over to R&D because we have some money now. So we could do actuators, we could do supersonic flight, advanced aerodynamics. Not so much advanced aerodynamics. Specialized control, heat management, that would give us the drill. Scanning tech gives us the Sentinel infrared telescope. It also gives us a bunch of new research opportunities. Diode beamed power laser. This high-power pivot laser transmitter includes an integrated diode laser array to save weight, although more efficient than most other early beam power transmitters. Small aperture limits its effective range to the infrared spectrum, with soft X-rays also available once being upgraded. Its operating bandwidth can only be figured before launch. Interesting. Interesting. Also, liquid chromatograph mass spectrometer. And gas. Analyze oceans and atmospheres. So we got all sorts of research tech we've got available there. The IXS command module looks pretty cool. Specialized command centers. Heavy command centers, 35,000 for that. How much science? 1,200. Resource exploitation, atmospheric particle scoop, experimental science, large holding tank, narrowband scanner, hex module, ISRU electrolyzer, converter, refrigerator, radial atmospheric scoop. Dang. There's some cool stuff up here. All right. For now, though, we also have precision propulsion, which gives us a couple of the small solid rockets. We also have heavy lifters. So we've got some options. These heavy lifters would help us a lot with getting our station in flight. So that's an option. But I'm kind of tempted to do supersonics. I don't know. I don't know. I think we'll do heavy lifters because I want the station. We'll go with that. All right. Did we accept the Moonsat 1 adjustment? We did. Let's go back to the tracking station and get that satellite shifted over. Moonsat 1. Let's fly that bad boy. Okay, it needs to be in also an orbital plane change. Okay. Well, let's go over to the ascending node, add a maneuver. Oh, this is a little bit more complicated. Hold on. Let's zero these out. Let's start with the plane change. Okay, for this guy right here, let's get him lined up and on plane. Okay. And let's adjust that in there. This is just a little cleaner way of doing it. Okay. Good. So we'll have to do 2 maneuvers for this. Because it's not just a plane change. It also wants us to push our apoapsis out slightly. That's fine. That's something we can easily do. It's only a slight adjustment here to make this work. Okay. Oh, that looks like that satisfied the contract anyway. So in a couple of seconds, we will have maintained stability long enough, and Moonsat 1 is complete. All right, that contract's done. Sweet nasty. We've knocked out several contracts in rapid succession. Rapid succession. It's time to start looking at larger voyages. We still have this one we'll knock out real quick, and then observational surveys. I don't love this. 11 Kerbals in one go. Dude, shut up. Surveys on the surface. I don't want to do that either. All right, we'll accept these 2 contracts. Dock 2 vessels on or around the moon. Plant the flag on the moon. So we got 5 active contracts. Let's start with this, then we'll fly, do the observation surveys, and then we'll plant the flag. That flight mission is going to take some time, just because it's a long ways out there, but it's okay. TD-18 decoupler on the launch pad, so we'll just put the 2 things down, call it good. That should be fairly fast. We'll put the Mark II command pod, put a decoupler on it. That's it. Mark II command pod. And let's just make sure I've got the right thing. TD-18 decoupler. Yep. Launch. Stage. Back to the vehicle assembly building. Easy mission. I can do this whole mission with 1 keystroke. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Boop. Mission complete. Why is it not letting me recover? Am I off the ground? Is that the problem? Oh my goodness. Jebediah, get out and push. Hold on. I gotta push the module onto the ground. Okay. Now I can recover. Nice. Nice. Good game mechanic right there. All right, now we're done. Now we're done. Okay, perfect. All right, now let's see. 600,000 is pretty good. Pretty good. Let's go over to the spaceplane hangar. We're going to need to fly a plane for this next mission. Everybody loves planes. Yay, planes. Planes are my favorite in this game. They never crash and destroy themselves randomly. Let's open. We've already built the plane for this, which is the KSP survey plane. I'm going to make 1 slight modification to it, though. These engine nacelles are going to just be slightly lower. But not quite that low. Just a little higher up, please. Yeah, about there. About there's good. Bring them in slightly. Put them on that wing joint. There we go. Now that wing joint's not as visible. Okay, looks good. Save, launch. Save it, launch it. All right, plane is ready to go. I think I have a full crew. We'll take this bad boy off. And I should already have a full cargo too, right? Yeah, I do. Perfect. All right, SAS on. I only see 1 Kerbal on board. This is a 3-man operation. Revert to spaceplane hangar. Nice try, Jebediah. Out here trying to steal the plane and fly it off by himself. This is not a solo mission. In fact, we're going to swap out Jebediah for Debris. Give her some time in the flight seat. I'm going to take Matt Dorf and Bob. Now we're going to launch. So what we're going to do, this mission is 2 parts, 2 stages. First part is we're going to fly this plane to the observation locations. That'll take some time. It's going to be a little slow, so buckle in. I'll try to keep it lively with some commentary, but it will be slow, I admit. Second stage is we're going to fly to the North Pole. Oh, son of a gun. This isn't even the right plane. Hold on. Pardon me, everyone, while I figure my life out. So I made modifications to this plane. We flew it in the last live stream, and I noticed an issue where the tail was starting to do some squirrely stuff. So I adjusted our flight surfaces by swapping this out for an actual wing. But apparently that didn't save, so we're going to have to go and do that manually again. Now, you might think that's a big wing surface, and it is, but we're going to make some adjustments to it. There we go. And then we'll put the elevons on it. That's our yaw surface right there. And then for structural stability's sake, we had a guide wire. I actually kind of like the look of the guide wire, how I had it set up. So let's see if I can get it there again. There we go. We had a little guide wire right there, and we also had from the wings here to the wing there to give it a little bit more structural stability. Okay, now we save it. Now we launch it. Hello, kitty cat. You want some attention? Will you purr into the microphone again for me? No, you're just going to sit here. I'm just going to sit here. You want to be held like a baby, don't you? You silly kitty cat. Yeah, okay. I got to fly a plane now. I'm going to sit you down. All right, thank you. Thank you for coming by. All right. Throttle up, SAS on, engines lit. And we're accelerating. Off we trot now, building up speed very quickly. Raise the landing gear. And our survey plane is off. Alright, so we are flying kind of horizontal to the ground. I'm going to gain altitude for efficiency's sake. Start navigating towards the first zone. And these Weasley turbofan engines generate a ton of thrust. More than this plane needs to fly, so we'll have a lot of excess power here, excess speed. We'll go ahead and set up 4 times time acceleration, and now we're off. This is kind of the steady state part of the flight where we need to fly across an ocean with our intrepid crew. We'll go ahead and bring up the interior overlay so we can watch them. There they are, safe and sound inside the cockpit as we approach transonic speeds. Really breakneck pace here. Debris up in the actual cockpit with Matt Dorf, the engineer, flight engineer right there, and Bob Kerman, our scientific specialist, sitting just behind her. And this cozy little flight compartment, I actually do really like how this is laid out. I think it's cute. And it makes for a nice little aesthetic, you know? So we're not even at full thrust. This is already far more capable than our previous science plane. I kind of want to build a fighter version of this using the inline cockpit and a forward air scoop like this. Something that Jebediah would like to fly. He is a daredevil after all. But this plane is far more practical. It can carry a decent amount of cargo back here. I could actually fill it up with quite a bit more cargo if I wanted to, but for now we're just carrying the one load. This will be enough cargo to set up a expedition station at the North Pole. So that's the second stage of this operation. We're going to fly to the observation areas themselves for the contract, and then we're going to fly up to the North Pole and establish a research outpost. And you can see we're already making decent headway. We've left the Kerbal Space Center, moving along at a good pace. We'll go ahead and max out our throttle here so we can accelerate a little bit as we've climbed in altitude quite a bit. And yeah, there we go. So we're already up at 11,000, really kind of reaching the upper atmosphere of what a standard, what we would think of as a conventional air-breathing plane can reach. This is kind of the ceiling for the jet. It will be able to climb up a little bit higher, but not much. Let's see, we can also pull up our cargo interface. There's a couple of things we can look at overall. The next mission we're going to do after this, right? So we'll knock out this observation mission. This one is happening passively in the background. We're already at 40 of 50% of the science required, which is great. But then our next two will be docking 2 vessels and planting a flag on the moon. So we're going to have to send intrepid explorers back to the moon on a daring expedition. And that will be a little dicey. You know, that might be a little dicey, but I think we'll be able to make it work out in the end. Now, I do want to... I have qualms with the autopilot in KSP. The stability control or stability assist really is not all it's cracked up to be. Because I just want it to fly level. And I feel like it really doesn't want to fly level for me. So instead we'll take it on these kind of arcs, these up and down arcs. And we'll go from there. Pardon me while I adjust my microphone. There we go. I had the gain way down. Oh, that's better. It's a little louder. Okay, there we go. Now it seems like we've taken up a more stable trajectory here. That looks a little better. And I'm not noticing the same issue I was seeing before. So before I added these, the downforce from my elevators here were actually causing the back half of the plane to bend into the fuselage. Not so much to break, obviously, and it wasn't permanent deformation, but it was a little concerning. Yeah, let's keep that experiment. Why not? Log temperature. Sure, keep that experiment too. We can collect our data. Trying to see if there's any reports we've missed as we fly. So this is our flight recorder back here, basically. That's what I'm calling it. Our experiment storage box, but it's just a flight recorder. So all the data we collect, I'm going to save it to this box. And look at that. We've got the Mun and Minmus in view. Beautiful view of them right there. Actually quite lovely. A near full view of the moon as well. We should be getting fairly close. We're about halfway there at this point. So we're making good time towards our destination. And the Kerbals are hanging in tight. So far, we're 25 minutes game time in. No real issues so far. One of the things I like about the Mark I cockpit, so you can obviously fly it this way. But if you look at the back of the cockpit, there's a pair of joysticks and another nav ball. And there's a window on the top of the cockpit. So you've got a docking station set of controls, basically. And if you have an inline clampetron you can put right here, then you've got the ability to fly a rocket using the Mark I and dock with the station. And I would like to build a kind of a simplified shuttle. Once we get our orbital lab going, I think a simplified shuttle would be nice to get crew up and down. I'm a little torn as to whether or not I want to build the station around the moon or around Kerbal. I think we want to build it around Kerbal. I think. Not 100% yet, but that's where my gut's going, because I like the idea of being able to do crew changeouts periodically. We're going to put the plane in a dive to pick up some airspeed. Get lower into the atmosphere so we can get some more thrust out of our engines. Okay, that should give us a stable flight for at least a little bit. About 2/3 of the way there now. Yeah, once I get the inline Clampetron, my idea would be to have Mark 1 cockpit, Clampetron, then the crew hatch, so I can carry 3 Kerbals, have low-mounted Delta Wings, and a rocket engine on the back, and then just fuel in the back, probably like the Terrier, something efficient. And I would need the advanced stability control system to help compensate for any issues with thrust being off the center of mass, because it's not radially symmetrical. It would just be mirror symmetry instead of radial symmetry. And then some RCS thrusters, obviously, an RCS monopropellant tank. All that gets stacked on. It adds up pretty quick, actually. You end up with a pretty decently sized vehicle. But the problem with space planes, the challenge with space planes, is the re-entry heating. And that's something I would need to mess around with quite a few times before I was confident enough to put Kerbals in a space plane. Oh, the kitty wants her belly rubbed. The kitty wants her belly rubbed, doesn't she? Yeah? You want your belly rubbed? Yeah. She is seeking attention today. All right. We're almost there. Probably 7/8, 5/6 of the way there now. I'm getting very close. This plane covers ground very fast, so once we get to this, it'll be pretty quick between the next two. Go ahead and get my crew overlay ready, because we'll roll a couple of crew reports kind of in rapid succession, one after the other. Alright, still looking good. We are kind of climbing again, so I'm going to pitch down, let us come into a dive. Just a shallow descent. We'll pick up some airspeed again. And then pitch up. There we go. That should hold for a little bit at least. Very nearly there. I mean, we can actually like see the progress as we come across here. Just a little bit more and we hit the first zone. Moments away now. Very exciting. Okay, I'm going to back out to 2 times time acceleration. We're going to turn. Crew report. Reset. That's the first crew report. Go ahead and move over to the second zone. Now, I'd like to think for this mission we're doing observations over the ocean. I would imagine it's something like a missing ship or a mayday signal that we're doing a search around the area where this thing went missing. We're trying to find it, so we're doing observations in the area that the ship or the spacecraft went missing. Alright, that's crew report 2, and here comes crew report 3. And in the zone, crew report. Alright, observations are complete. Let's quick save real quick, because in the last live stream we got to this part of the mission and we turned and started making our way north, and what ended up happening was we got to the North Pole. We had plenty of fuel, no concerns whatsoever really. We kind of had finished the mission out and we were coming in for the landing at the North Pole. It's very flat, very smooth ground there, and as I was coming in for a touchdown, coming in for the landing, landing gear hit the ground, and the plane completely exploded. Just immediate, complete destruction of the entire vehicle. It was extremely frustrating. And I kind of rage quit. We went and did something else, and then I ended the live stream. So this time we're going to save before we attempt the landing. We'll probably save again once we get to the North Pole. It's not too far, actually. About half the distance from here to the North Pole as it was from the Kerbal Space Center to here. So really not too bad. That's the North Pole right there. You can see it now. This will be a night landing. I have lights attached to the vehicle so that I'm able to see the ground clearly. And we are getting closer. I don't think this plane quite has the fuel to circumnavigate the planet, but it definitely can go probably anywhere on the planet. Like if it, I wouldn't be able to go all the way around, but I could reach the other side of the planet. So I just have to pick the shortest route, and yeah, I'd be able to get there. This thing packs a ton of fuel on board. All the fuel are in these Mark 1 liquid fuel tanks. Each one carries 400 gallons, 400 pounds, 400 units of fuel, which is quite a bit. Also, we've got a nice connection via Keosat 2 to our destination. So there's no nearby relay stations that we can actually take advantage of. But this relay set is giving us a bounce all the way to Harvester Mastiff. And we're getting pretty decent signal quality, not a lot of degradation. Not that it matters for a manned flight. We could go up here without comms, but it does give us the ability to transmit science. So, for instance, I can log this and transmit it. I don't have enough electric charge on board, so I need to... Here we go. Allow partial. And transmit again. And now it'll let me transmit messages. I don't have any additional batteries on board, which is why it's kind of sucking up power. But that's fine. For this, it doesn't really matter. I'm not trying to transmit, you know, huge quantities of science with this mission. Maybe in a future build of this, we'll throw a couple of batteries or an inline battery to give it the juice that it needs. But for now, it's fine. We're about halfway to the North Pole now from the observation locations. You can see the edge of it right there. And we don't need to get to the proper North Pole, just somewhere on the ice shelf. Looking for somewhere in this general area. My thought, though, is that the closer to the North Pole I am, the more continuous sunlight I'll be able to receive. Because we'll be in partial twilight for longer. So that's going to require at least getting to about here-ish. But, you know, should be fine. We are now 1 hour total into our flight. In game time, 15 minutes real time we've been flying this mission. Not too bad. We are kind of approaching our max altitude again, so I'm going to pitch down and build up some speed. We'll go ×2 acceleration. Alright, that should do for now. Slight adjustment. Plane is losing altitude slightly, but that's okay because it'll eventually pitch up and gain altitude again. But anyway, what were we talking about earlier? Oh, that's right, space planes. So the issue with the space planes is I don't have any like real heat shield on any of these parts. And so to mitigate that, you have to do a very, very, very shallow, slow descent and use your wings to kind of stay in that upper atmosphere for as long as possible, which is hard. It's hard. It's challenging. It's not going to be easy. You also have to either you control your descent very gradually using your wings to kind of stay in the very upper regions of the atmosphere, or you use extra fuel to reduce your speed before you touch the atmosphere, so you're basically on a suborbital velocity to where you don't need the heat shields, and then you still have some re-entry heating, but not nearly as bad. It's much more controllable. Those are kind of your options with space planes. There's no, as far as I am currently aware, there's no ability to apply heat shielding or heat protection to parts. I might be wrong about that. I'm not 100% sure, but that does pose a limit, an operational risk we have to consider if we're designing a space plane. We are past the sound barrier here in this steady decline that we've managed to reach. And I'm not going to complain about it because we're going really, really freaking fast right now and still accelerating. So we're covering ground very, very quickly with this, which is great. Love it. And we are starting to gain altitude again. While we're gaining altitude, we are slowing down, slowly slowing down. We're still keeping up a good speed here. I am going to have to decelerate, but because we're going so fast, you can see the ice caps are coming along the horizon extremely quickly. I'm going to pick up a chase view of the plane, and we're going to start looking at landing options. Let's go ahead and throttle down. Still going very, very fast, but that's okay. Let's go a little bit farther. We're making great, great time here. 322, so yeah, definitely transonic, not quite supersonic. I'm like Mach 0.8, 0.9, 0.8 now. Alright, we're getting real close. This is about where I said I wanted to land it, so let's go ahead. We're going to come out of time warp, throttle way down. My engines are actually getting pretty hot here. Let's reverse our engines. I could bind that to an activation group, which would be nice, but for now we're just going to have it set like that. We're idling the engines. We're at a 20 degree, raise that up to a 10 degree decline here. Gear R down. Alright, now I'm going to do another save, because I don't want to lose another crew and lose all the progress on this mission because physics bugs out. Alright, let's bleed off some speed here. We're still going very fast. But I like this glide slope that we're currently on. It's nice and gentle. Okay, let's pitch up a little bit. Pitch up, pitch up. All right, max thrust. Brakes are on. Brakes are still on. We actually backed up a little bit there, but that's good. That was a nice shutdown. All right, engine 2 shut down. Engine 1 shut down. The plane is on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. We've done it. We have landed at the North Pole. So we're going to EVA. The helmet and neck ring are not required for this environment, I would assess. Probably should have brought a ladder. That's okay. I do know a way to fix it. Let's go here. And, where is it? Steering direction. No. Oh, hold on. Transfer crew. Someone needs to be in control of it. There we go. Retract. Ta-da! Okay, now we can get out. So, heal EVA. Remove the helmet. Oh, okay. Put the helmet back on, why don't you? It's fine. You can keep the helmet on if you want to. Matt Dorf. All right. Polar Expedition 1. It's good enough. Doesn't need to be crazy. Remove your helmet, please. Remove your neck ring. There we go. That's better. See, isn't that better? All right. Let's transfer you. And then we can EVA him. They have to climb out one at a time from the crew compartment to the cockpit, but that's okay. Let's take control of Mattdorf now. We're going to run back to the cargo bay, the back of the plane. Pull out our solar panels. And we'll deploy them right here. Kind of want to deploy these nicely, so let's deploy it right there. Solar panels are deployed next to each other. Let's take control of Bob, the scientist. Bob's going to do the rest of the work on this mission, which is going to be 1, ditching his parachute and pack, but 2, deploying the experiment control station. And then our 2 experiments. So we'll place this guy right here. And then this is the weather analyzer, part of our weather station. And then our goo analyzer. All right, that is the research station put together. Experiments connected to comm signal 0.32, comms first hop distance 12.8. So not a great comm signal, but a workable one. We've got 0.04 and 0.037. So about 0.8 net, about 0.1 science per hour. So certainly less than our expeditions to the Mun and Minmus, but it will start bringing in a few pieces of science as we go. And we can grab onto this hatch, board the plane. We'll transfer. There we go, transfer crew. Put them back on board. Mattdorf, you're next. Get in the plane if it would please you. Transfer crew. And then debris, you can get in. Board the plane. And we can extend this landing gear, which brings the plane back up on 3 sets of wheels. Everyone's on board, and we can recover the craft. I don't think we get full value for recovering from so far away, but that's fine. It's fine. We don't have enough fuel to actually get back to the Kerbal Space Center on this plane right now. So I wasn't really intending on trying to fly it back, but it would also take forever to do that, so. 0 science earned. A little bit of money earned. 11,000 from funds for parts. No experience gained for the crew. They're all veterans, so that wasn't enough. 11,000 was returned. How much does this thing cost? It doesn't really specify from here. Anyway. Next up is going to the moon. Well, there's 2 courses of action. We could go to the moon or we could build our orbital station. I kind of want to build the orbital station now and then go to the moon. Primarily because that'll give us more time, obviously, to have the station operational. So I guess let's start with the station. We have our orbital lab itself, and we're not going to add a whole lot to it structurally. Just the docking port, which I'm going to put on the front here. And we're going to use the full-size one. Let's see, what else? Well, hold on, before we do that, we need to be able to control the thing, 1. So that's important. 2, we should probably have a means of... Well, we don't really need to pilot it, but we do need a means of controlling its attitude. Let's go ahead and add that, and that, and that. And then we can kind of, for the sake of looks, let's move this whole thing down as a unit. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we've got that. Let's look at our electrical requirements. We are going to want to transmit data from this thing. So an array of batteries would be not missed, you know. And then we're going to need the ability to charge it, obviously. So 4 solar panels right there would also be helpful. I do want to be able to control this thing over time. So some RCS fuel tanks on the bottom here. And then we'll give it the big RCS thrusters. We'll put 4 there and 4 there. Turn off toggle snap in the bottom left. You can move things more smoothly. It took me ages to figure that out. Yep, I do understand that. Turning this guy on and off. And I do that on occasion. Not for that particular part. But I do use it from time to time. Just not in that particular instance did I use it. We do need some science experiments on this thing. So that we can do science. Obviously, the easiest or the best way to utilize the orbital lab is to bring new experiments to it. But for now, I'm satisfied to just have these here. Because even repeating these science in orbit of the moon or orbit of Kerbal, doing some EVA experiments, stuff like that, we can still take advantage of it. I don't want to put Bob on it. I want to keep Bob ready for future missions. But we are going to hire a scientist, hire a new Kerbal astronaut with the money we have, and put that Kerbal astronaut in the space station. I think that's about it as far as equipment for the station goes. We got the solar panels. Got the battery. Excuse me. We got the solar panels. We got the batteries. We got the docking clamp. We got monopropellant fuel tanks out the wazoo. I guess we could do some thermal. Thermal radiator fins, maybe. That'd be the only other thing I could think to use. No. It's not that. And I've decided we're putting this in low Kerbal orbit, or low Kerbin orbit, so that we can do crew swap outs. And I have tried to balance my skills with all of my guys. These two we've rescued. These three have obviously done most of the flying. We had one other Kerbin, Kerbal, Valentina. She's dead. And we're not getting her back, so I am cautious. I am definitely cautious. I think a relay antenna wouldn't be a bad idea. So we can, one, use the station as a relay. And then two, it just gives us comms. And here, I'll turn off toggle snap like you suggested, because I actually do want to slide this in a little bit. Kind of flush with the station there. Rip Valentina, I know, she died early on in a tragic flight accident with an experimental plane, and she will be missed. Okay, it's coupling time. We're going to use the TD-18 here, and then we'll use the 25 payload fairing. We'll turn the angle snap back on now. Not wide enough. Okay, a little wider. I don't think that's wide enough either. Is that wide enough? It just peeks out. It just peeks out. It just peeks out. Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll come up, come over, close it up, and then I'm gonna take the move tool. We're gonna scoot this in just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, perfect. Now it's not peeking out. Sides 2, ejection force higher, clamshell deploy. Great. Fuel tanks. So this is where we get into the big stuff, right? I have more fuel tanks at my disposal now. I haven't unlocked all of them. I haven't used the Deinonychus 1D yet. I am kind of curious about it. So it has 380 ISP in space. What's the cheetah? 355. So this is a little bit more general purpose. Sure, let's buy it. It's expensive. It is expensive. We have the mainsail. I'm not putting the mainsail on this stage, though. There's the Poodle. What Delta V does that tank give me with the Poodle? 1960? 1960 is a lot. 1960 is pretty good. That might be enough, honestly. But let's do the single bell variant. I like the single bell variant. I'm just partial to it. Yeah, let's start there. Move this up. All right. So the rest of the rocket, the lifting body itself. It's a great decade for space travel. It is. It is a great decade for space travel. If you're referring to the current decade in real life that we are actually in. We have had a good year as it is. This is not a cheap engine at all. So this is kind of a heavy investment. Oh, referring to 1960? 1960 was, but I would say that the decade we are currently in is really the pinnacle of modern space flight. Okay, does this have the thrust-to-weight ratio? It does. But let's look at something else. So that costs $13,000. The Skipper costs less, but hear me out. We make multiple of them. right? We would do that. Now, with 3 skippers, 0.82. Try to get the rocket to 2,000 Delta V. We've got more than 2,000 already. This has 1960, a great year for spaceflight. Oh, you were looking at the Delta V. That's funny. And you're also referring to the Delta V customizable. That joke flew right over my head. Okay, I see what you're talking about. I see what everyone's talking about now. What about this? Does this have better thrust? 260 to 3,000. This goes... No, it's got less thrust. But significantly better ISP. So that's a good upstage engine. Slightly better in vacuum than the Poodle. With more thrust than the Poodle. What if we swapped out the core stage for the mainsail? No. Okay, hold on. Let's reconfigure this. So this works on its own. I'm overcomplicating. Stop overcomplicating. It's a simple problem. We've got the kickback SRBs. We'll slap 2 of those on there to save fuel and get us up there. That's all we need right there. Scoot that down a little bit. There we go. Slap some cones on them. We'll do the strut work now. I kind of botched that. Hold on. It's really not wanting to click into a nice spot for me. Hold on. Okay, hold on. It's good enough. Are the SRBs centrally mounted on the decoupler? Yes, they are. Slightly below center, which will be fine because I'm going to throw a kickback motor on them. So don't worry about it. Let's add 2 more. Okay, so that is structurally sound. I'm not worried about the payload. I think that's pretty firmly mounted. Let's go to engines. And where is it? I thought I had it. Well, hold on. Let's scoot this up. Never mind. I guess not. So we're going to scoot this down slightly. Mount the SRB slightly higher. Oh, are you talking about off-center this way? No, yeah, they're fine. They look fine. Oh, maybe they are. Oh, you're right. I see the problem. I see it. Okay. It's right there. Now they're mounted correctly. I see. And then we'll have to adjust these. Nope. Undo. I think it's fine. Yeah, the devil is in the details. Little things like that can cost you. For sure. Okay, so this is going to be Research Station Omega. I like that name. It's fine. It's a fine name. We're going to save it, and I'm going to leave. We're going to go hire a new astronaut. B. Dolan W., I appreciate your backup. See, this is what all the other people in chat in the past live streams have been letting me just go off and make stupid mistakes. You're over here catching my mistakes, and I appreciate that a ton. Let's see. From our roster, we're looking for a scientist to put on the station. Andon Kerman is kind of cowardly and kind of stupid, but Daphmore is pretty stupid but very courageous. And that's what I like to see in my astronauts. So we're going to take Daphmore. Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not sweating that detail right now. I guess, we could have just gone straight to the launch pad instead of having to load the VAB because we've already designed the rocket. Oops. All right, we'll put Daphmore Kerman in the lab. And we have room for a second, but we're just going to put her up there alone for now and abandon her for the rest of her career. I mean, we're going to definitely give her relief in the near future. One check on staging before we go. Always check your staging. That'll probably happen first, and then that will deploy, and we'll be done. Okay, staging looks good. Take it to the launch pad. Let's light this candle. Here we go. Anyone else in the chat have any ideas for name? Please speak up. I will pretty much take anything you say and make it happen. Am I doing reverts? Yes, I am doing reverts. So if you're new to the stream, quick breakdown. I have it on the hardest difficulty settings, but I am allowing quick saves and mission reverts. And I'm doing that because KSP has a tendency to bug out and kill my astronauts. Now, if I make a mistake, if I totally screw up and it's my fault that the astronauts are dead, I'm not going to revert a mission. But if the game bugs out, if something unexpected or out of my control happens, I am going to utilize a revert. Because I just don't want to deal with having... And I tried doing this on my own a while ago, max difficulty campaign. And I just kept getting absolutely clobbered by the Kraken. And as soon as you, especially early on, as soon as you start falling behind on contracts and losing astronauts, you're like in the hole, and then it's a fail. You've basically failed. Which, yes, you can fail. You can lose in Kerbal Space Program. It's absolutely possible. Yeah, I know. Can't have the Kraken killing the missions. So we're not going to put up with that. All right, boosters have separated. Gonna go ahead and throttle up. We're a little steep on our trajectory. I didn't pitch over quite enough, but that's okay because we can compensate for it by pitching down now. The mainsail has the thrust authority to do that. All right, we're aligned with the orbital vector. We keep it at about a 1.5 thrust to weight ratio on this ascent. Shouldn't be anything too crazy happening here. Aiming for about 100. I think we'll go 120 if we've got the fuel for it. Maybe 150 kilometer orbit. Gonna go ahead and let the throttles come down. Yeah, we'll shoot for 150. I've absolutely got the Delta V for that. Stability assist and push for the horizon. Now that we're in space, I don't have to worry about drag. Also deploy the clamshells. Our radiators are hot, but I guess they're keeping the engine cool. Okay, here we go. Going for 150 kilometer orbit, 140, 141, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. All right. I'm going to go ahead and ditch the top stage. Let that fall back to Kerbin. It's got some fuel left over in it. That's okay. Let's time warp up to Apoapsis. Lock prograde. Start my engine. We're already in a partial orbit, or almost in orbit. All right, we're in orbit. Now it's just circularizing. That is good enough. 150, 149 is close enough in my book. I'm going to leave the lower stage connected for now. Nah, we'll ditch it. We'll ditch it. Let's extend the solar panels. Turn on the lights. Got our consumption. So far, so good. Let's log pressure data. Process it in the lab. Log temperature data. Process that in the lab. Observe mystery goo. Process that in the lab. Take a... Can I do a crew report from here? I don't know if I can. But since we're in orbit, Daphmore gets to go to level 1. She's orbited Kerbal, which gets her to level 1. We'll go ahead and time warp to the sunshine. There it is. Beautiful sunshine. We'll give her an EVA opportunity. Take an EVA report. Keep that. Board the station. Let's review the data and process that in the lab. So that's going to give us 29 units of data at a rate of 0.19 science per day. Not very fast, but we just don't have a ton of data on board. And we'll start researching. Everything is good to go. The station is operational. That smile will soon fade. She is ecstatic. Look at her. She is having a blast. I mean, look, all astronauts fundamentally want to be in space, right? Like, that's kind of the idea. And who am I to deprive her of her chance to be in space? Look at her. Look at that. Look at that smile. She is vibing up there. Yeah, the mystery glue has been observed, glowing like never before. So the orbital research station is deployed. It's operational, and it looks good. It looks good. I'm very happy with it. She seems almost too happy. She might be like delirious. I don't know. So we're gonna do. Hold on, real quick. We're gonna stability assist. And I'm going to roll towards the sun. I want to point the solar rays at the sun. Minimize heating of the hull, right? Minimize the heating on the surfaces here. Maximize solar panel engagement. And my relay satellite is now part of the network, so it's well connected to the CurbNet. And we will leave that mission there. So she is good to go. The research station is good to go. Now it's time to set our sights on the moon. So this moon mission we're on, it's one of the kind of baseline missions, or the main plot missions, if you call it. We need to dock 2 vessels in orbit around the moon. And then because we're docking, since we're docking, we can also, on the return trip, dock one of those vessels in orbit with this station. That's my thought, at least, is to go both ways. Dock at the moon, dock at the station, take all the science we took from the surface, and put it in the orbital lab, start getting some real science out of it. That's the plan. As far as the execution of that plan, we'll see. We'll see what we do. But we're going to need a brand new craft to get that to work, right? So we're going to start with our Mark III command pod. And we're going to need a couple of things with this. For starters, we're going to need the Clampatron. Because we're going to have to dock. We're going to have to dock with the landing module and the station. This is going to be a more traditional kind of Apollo-style mission here. But I'm not going to use the Saturn V kind of template for our rocket. It'll be similar, but it will be different. Since we're putting the docking module there, we're going to need parachutes. So let's go utilities, parachutes. We'll do 2x symmetry, put them right about there. Turn the snap off and scoot them in a little bit more. Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't interfere too much. We are going to need RCS to actually dock this thing, and we're going to need a heat shield. So let's start with the heat shield. 2.5 meter diameter heat shield installed right there. Let's put the detacher on for that. Awesome. Okay, so now the service module and everything else. We're not going to do a whole lot science on board this. We've already done most of the science from the moon, so I'm not going to worry about anything there. We're just going to have the fuel tank, which I'm torn between one of these fuel tanks. I think we need the larger one because this thing is going to it's going to need to do 2 whole maneuvers, one to get to the moon and then one to come back to the moon, get back into low orbit and do the docking. So I want the extra fuel. That's going to make it heavier. What is our weight at right now? 25.6 tons. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. We're fine. Let's throw some RCS monopropellant tanks on here. And just cluster them up. Actually, toggle snap. Oh, there we go. Cluster them up. So we've got monopropellant tanks. I don't know. Is that enough? How much monopropellant is that? 7.5 per. Not a lot, actually. Hold on. Let's buy the other one. $20 per. So that, I think, gives us a little bit more, just having those 4. That's good. We'll use the smaller thrusters. I don't need a ton of thrust. We're doing the fine-tuned controls here. That station, I used the larger thrusters, primarily because it's going to be using those thrusters for maneuvers. And then communications. We don't need anything crazy. I really like the Communitron 16S. It just makes a nice little low profile antenna that we can slap on the side of just about anything. And with our satellites and how far we're going, I don't need anything crazier than that. And it's cheap. It's very cheap. It's cheaper than all the other options. That's it for that module, right? Now we need the Sepratron. So we're going to use a TS25 stack separator. And then we're going to build out the next section. So we're going to have a docking module. And we have a couple of options for landers here, right? We could go for the Lunar Excursion Module, the MEM, not to be confused with the LEM. And it'll take down a crew of 2, and it's lighter. The other option is we take the Mark II landing can, 1.327. This is actually lighter. Now, this comes with its full RCS suite and everything. I don't know. Chat, what do we think? Do we go with the Lunar Excursion Module or the Mark II lander can? Thoughts? Well, while you guys think about that, I'm going to grab the lander can for now. Actually, no. The Lunar Excursion Module, because it comes with RCS, doesn't it? Yeah, it comes with thrusters and fuel tanks. Yeah, we're going to go MEM. Sorry, gang. We're going MEM. Some of you might have wanted the MEM, and if you wanted the MEM, congratulations. You get what you want. Here's a question. Actual question for the group. Yeah, think MEM it. Does the docking port junior work with the regular docking port? Can I dock a small docking port with a big docking port? Any KSB experts out there know the answer? If you know the answer, please chime up. I don't know why this isn't shrouded. It's kind of weird. Engine time. All right. So the ascent stage. This doesn't come with an engine, but the spark will probably do. Can I also translate this up into it? Oh, I can. Oh, it does fit. Look at that. It's junior to junior only. Okay, so we'll keep the big one. That's fine. And then we need a fuel tank for the descent stage. I guess we'll go for the slightly larger. Oh, wait. We need a detacher, don't we? Yeah, we do. Is that going to cause issues having that up there? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Also, how much fuel does this have? Not a ton. Is that enough to get off the surface? Is that really enough? That is so little. I understand it's not a big rocket, but that's so little. Man, we'd have to be spot on. Because the other option, right, is we do the Mark... Well, I guess we don't have to do the Mark what's its nuts, do we? Hold on. Hold on. We could do the Mark 1. The little lander can. You think you managed to... don't quote me on this, but I think... Look, man. If they're abandoned and they die, that's it. And whoever goes down in the mem gets one shot at this. And don't quote me on this, but I think I have managed it without extra fuel. It does not inspire confidence. We're gonna change our plan up. Because what you just said is not making me feel good about this plan. So we're gonna do the Mark 1 lander can on top of a 1.875 meter diameter fuel tank with the Terrier. Because the Terrier is the right answer every time. It's always the right answer to use the Terrier. Whenever you can use a Terrier, use a Terrier. For ground game, I don't think I can get away with the micro struts. We'll have to use the LT1s. We are going to need RCS since we're going with the smaller lander can, but that's okay. We can do that. Fuel tanks. We'll use 4. We'll use 6. And I'll also use this as an opportunity to adjust these a little bit. Let's move them in. Move them up. So now they're kind of tucked away up there. That looks nice right there. I like that. Okay, back to place mode. We need a way to get up and down from the lander. That can be accomplished with a ladder. Let's try the mobility enhancer. Oh, put toggle snap back on. How far does this go down? Not very far. Okay, how about we go to here with it. And then we do the Pegasus mobility enhancers the rest of the way. Little jank, but that should get us there. Okay, that looks okay. Overall, I don't see any glaring issues with that. All right, science time. Let's bring 2 goo containers because we're going to bring a pilot down. It's going to be Jeb. Jeb's going to fly it down. Either Jeb or our new pilot could actually fly that mission down. But because of that, I want the 2 goo containers because we're not going to get a chance to reset them. And we'll also need a communitron on this bad boy. Just a regular communitron will do the trick. Nothing crazy. Retract that. Retract that. Okay. How much Delta V is that lander? The lander alone, it's 122. right? And it's hard to tell, but it should absolutely be enough. Because it's very lightweight and very small. We're not taking a lot of equipment on it with us. We will need some batteries. Which I was hoping... There we go. Let's do that. We'll use the small batteries and kind of embed them in between the monopropellant tanks. Zoom in here. Like that. Let me guess, around 300 delta V. No, it's going to be more than that. So think about it this way, right? This engine right now, pushing the whole stack, has 122 units of delta V at sea level, 494 in vacuum. It'll have way more delta V than that. I would guess north of 1,000 easily. Easily north of 1,000, probably 1,500 maybe. It's kind of hard to tell, right? How do I do sub-assemblies? I know there's a way to do it. Sub-assemblies. How do I make a new... Drop this here. We'll call this basic lunar lander. Save that as a sub-assembly. Let's call this KSP. What should we call the mission, everybody? Quick. Lunar Ranger 3. I've been calling missions that are manned to different bodies the Rangers. I think I'm going to keep that up for now, but if someone comes up with a better name, let me know. Save new. Let me just real quick drop this in. Advanced sub-assemblies. Put that in there. Swap this around real quick. It's got lots of delta V. It's actually got too much delta V. It's got a crazy amount of delta V. All right, man. It could go down and up and down and up. And down and up, probably. Don't save. KSP Lunar Ranger 3. There she is. Load it. Put the sub-assembly back in. That might be just enough. I know. We've got lots of margin here. Lots and lots and lots of margin. One thing we can do is to conserve fuel, right? We'll do the lunar landing and recovery, and then after that, we'll transfer the fuel out of our lunar excursion module back into the main fuel tank, and then detach that. That way we're not wasting anything, right? And then it'll also operate as kind of a standalone satellite because we're going to put some solar panels on it. And we'll just do 4 like that. So it becomes its own satellite at the end, which is a convenient side effect of the mission, right? As we have another satellite in orbit to do stuff. We can't control it. Actually, why not? Why not be able to control it? That's what I say. Why not be able to control the satellite? That's all it takes right there. Now we can control it. Bury a probe deep inside its bowels. Reduce, reuse, recycle, and all that jazz. I know. We're trying to be efficient. We're trying to be smart. All right. TD5 decoupler. And then the fairing. Right now, the fairing's going to do some interesting things. Actually, hold on. Swap. TD12 decoupler. Will it clean? Oh, it will. Oh, fascinating. But that only covers up to here. Guys, help. I'm confused. I got confused. What do I do now? How do I... Hold on. Can I push past? No, I cannot push past. I can go flush to that. It doesn't, which makes me want to change it out. Because if it had a shroud, it'd be fine. Right? I could go for the poodle. Single bell variant of the poodle. I'm always down to use a single bell variant of a poodle. Does that give it a shroud? It does! Hey, look, we got a shroud. Yay! We fixed it. It's fixed. It's good. It's all good. All right, so this is our ship, and it weighs 32 tons. Whoa, it's heavy. She's a big girl. Yeah. 32 tons is a lot of tons, my guys. That's a lot of tons. How do I make this work? How do I make a launch escape system actually work nicely? Can I just force it? Will the launch escape system... Does it separate? Somebody explain the launch escape system to me. Does it need a separator? I guess we could stack test this, right? Use a fair... Oh. Are you talking about the fairing... This fairing? This fairing? But how do I make it upside down? Hold on. Close fairing. On top of the pod. But I need to make it upside down, you said. So do I do this? Like that. And then close it on the nose. Like that. Looks a little silly. Looks a little silly, don't it? That doesn't sound like it would work. You know what? Screw it. Screw it. Screw it. Only a coward needs a launch escape system anyway. Am I right, guys? I mean, I'm right. No one really needs a launch escape system. That's just something the pansies say. Let's go ahead and build out the lower stage. It's fine. It's fine. It's just adding to the cost and weight at this point. It's cheaper to not have it. All right, will the mainsail get it off the pad? Well, it will on the moon. That's great. Will it work on Kerbal? It will. So here's my thought process, right? We got this huge stack. And all of this up here is the flight hardware that stays in space. They won't notice. I mean, I feel like they'd notice because they can definitely see out the front, and they would see the lack of launch escape tower, but it's fine. Look, we'll tell them that it wasn't in the budget. And that we've done an analysis, and we have determined that the increase in safety margins does not exceed the value that would be gained from having it. So we're not going to use it. All right. What we're going to do, since I'm not quite comfortable just sending them on one stage, I mean, maybe that would work, but you know, we're kind of pushing it. So what I'm going to do instead is we're going to throw a couple of these bad boys on, and then these bad boys. This is my favorite fuel tank in the game right here. But it does need to be rotated. Oh, a little bit more. Come on. There we go. All right, that right there is a lot of fuel. couple of bobcats there on the bottom. Add those. Get those. That's our fairing there. I actually want that to happen later. That one should happen before. I guess that can happen at the same time. So the separator breaks off this portion and this portion. That breaks away. Then this will happen. But I want this engine. I want all that to ignite at the same time. Then the lunar module, or the mooner module. Then the mooner engines when we're ready for them. And then at that point, it's all kind of fugazi. Okay. So hear me out. We've got this pretty sick, awesome stack right here. 1.24 thrust to weight ratio. But, watch this. We take this one little part. And we attach it right there. All of a sudden, we go from 5,000 to 7,000 meters per second of delta V just by adding that. And what that does is that'll drain these fuel tanks to our center stage while the center stage is flying and boosting us up. So while these side boosters actually reduce our thrust to weight ratio, they gain us way more delta V. Way more delta V. And that's what we're after, is we want the delta V. That sweet, sweet change in velocity is what we need. Let's add some struts for stability. My psychologist told me I'm unstable and that I should be doing things to help increase my stability, and I feel like this meets the intent of what he was talking about. So we're going to go ahead and go with these to make sure the thing doesn't shake itself apart, you know? That'd be bad. And we'll go ahead and add the launch towers here. Can we do 4? 4 would be cool. Yeah, we can do 4. All right, 70 grand for this mission. I don't even know if the mission pays out that much. I don't think it does, actually. But you know what? It's not about the money sometimes. It's about the clout. All right. Hell yeah. All right, I love it. Save it. Let's look at our crew. We got Bob, Bill, and Jebediah. Let's take Jebediah off the flight roll. We're going to put Debris in there, and we'll take Bill off. We're going to put Matt Dorf on. They're going to be our pilot and engineer for the flight. We'll get them some more experience. Debris will probably get to level 2. Matt Dorf maybe not, but he'll at least have some experience. The other ones are already more seasoned, more experienced. So we'll keep them on. Yeah, we're doing it for the clout, baby. Keeping our priorities in line. Oh. We are not done. We are not done, gentlemen. I need to figure out. I need to make some space for this. Hold on. We forgot the cargo. Oh, shoot. Shoots, brother. Can a non-scientist deploy scientific payloads? Oh, no. Never mind. It doesn't matter because we have the HECS module. Oh, but that would mean that Matdorf wouldn't get down to the surface. Shoot. It's fine. Never mind. I was gonna try and deploy some, add some deployable science to the mission, but it's fine. We don't need it. We've already got a deployable science station on the moon. We don't need it. We don't need it. All right. No time like the present. Let's launch it. And if it fails hilariously, oops. If you're just joining the stream, I'm going to send 3 Kerbals to their deaths. Buckle up. It's an excuse for a future trip anyway. Well, we'll do multiple. We'll do multiple trips down there. It's all part of the process. All right, SAS is on. I'm going to make one quick staging adjustment. I'm going to light the engines and then activate the trusses. And we're away. Lift off. Monitor our thrust to weight ratio, and we're going to pitch over here. Nice and easy. Nighttime launch from the Kerbal Space Center off the coast. Whoops. Yeah, that's why this is a video game. The Kerbals aren't real. They're plants. They're just plants with eyeballs. It's fine. Alright, we are slowly climbing. Thrust-to-weight ratio is pretty low with all this extra fuel, but that's okay because all that extra fuel means we have extra fuel. And fuel is what I crave. Alright, we're about fast enough. We've got a high enough thrust-to-weight ratio. We're going prograde, and I'm going to rotate. There we go. Is the moon in the sky right now? Oh, it is! It's right there. See, all we have to do is aim straight up and accelerate, and we would, if we accelerated enough, hit it. You know? You know, man? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We are a little low. We're going to pitch up a bit. All right, there go the first two boosters, and we have the mainsail now carrying the full weight of the stack, but it's got a full tank. That's what that extra fuel is for. You're right. Maybe not a perfect launch, but a functional launch for sure. Let's get rid of all the extra nodes. We'll keep it on this angle for a little bit. Go ahead and time accelerate now that we're kind of steady. All right, let's go prograde. Start throttling down. Throttle way down. Keep it around or under a 1 thrust-to-weight ratio. We don't need a whole lot here anymore. Keep a look at our consumables, our resources. All the way down to a 0.5 thrust-to-weight ratio. We are just at the corner of the atmosphere. I'm going to go ahead and pitch to the horizon. And that's space for us. Let's go ahead and finish this burn. And get into orbit here. 83,000 meters, 83 kilometers. We are coming up on orbital velocity nice and smooth here. Just nice, smooth transition. Go back to locking prograde. I'm going to throttle up for the orbital insertion burn. Final stage. That's orbit. We have 117 meters per second of delta V left in the stack. So, in order to maximize every speck of fuel we can get out of this, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to set the moon as the target. And we're going to aim a little farther in the future. Basically a maneuver right here, right? I'm going to go out to 117 meters. Hundred 117. There we go. I'm going to plan this out. The way we're going to do this is we're going to do it in 2 burns. We're going to do the initial burn, which is going to expend every last drop of fuel that this main stage rocket has to give me. Right? Leave no amount of fuel unspent. Then we're going to do our LEM and command module docking sequence. Then we're going to do a second burn. That's the plan, right? We'll see if the plan works, but that is, in fact, the plan. We are at the maneuver node. milk that burn for all it's worth. All right. So here we go. Now we are on the clock to separate. I'm going to activate this stage, which separates our command module from our lunar module. And it unfortunately leaves this piece of space junk in our way. And stability assist is messing with me. Set as target. Okay, mark that as complete. Let's lock on our target. We've kind of wiggled around a bit. Let's activate RCS thrusters and go to docking mode. And move out of the way of the space junk. Out of the way of the space junk. There we go. Let's shut down this engine. And start the docking. Rotate in a line. Okay, get us lined up. A little wiggly, but that's all right. Those RCS thrusters are firing for their lives, but it looks like we got it. Yeah, we got it all right. Okay, shut down the RCS thrusters. Switch out of docking mode. Separate. Okay. So now we have both engines here that are activated. I'm going to... No, that one's shut down still. Good. Okay. Should be good to go, right? Let's go ahead and activate RCS. Go docking mode again. I'm just going to burn to get out of the way. I did not put... I just realized that this is all dumb weight. All right. Bob is going to... Or Matt Dorf, we're going to get out. We're going to do some in-flight reconfiguring because I just made a mistake. All right, you guys are going to get a chance to see a real professional engineer do some real professional work in space. Here's what we're going to do, right? Here's the mistake we've made. I have added RCS fuel to a ship with no RCS thrusters. Now, you might think, well, why would you do such a fool thing as that? And the answer is because I am not smart. And I have made a grave error. And I am losing control of the mission. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let me attach you, please. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. All right. I think that engine's supposed to be on the lander. It's okay. It's okay, everyone. Here's what we're going to do. Set that there. Move that. Move that. Move that. Move that. Grab this. And orient it. All right. All right. All right. All right. We're not out of the woods yet, but it's okay. I can fix this. I simply need to relocate all the batteries to new homes. And I need to do this in a timely manner because I am drifting through space and I'm hitting moving targets. So this is really a skill thing, right? And the fact that I'm pulling it off, honestly, you guys should all be super duper impressed It is unfortunate. Oh, there we go. Let's go! I am the best. I am the best at this game. So we've rapidly reconfigured our module to save space. And I will explain now what I did in a panic there, because I wasn't talking a whole lot. We don't have any RCS thrusters on the lander. Now, that's not great, but we have RCS thrusters on the command module. So all I have to do is get the lander up in a stable orbit. I can use the command module to dock with the lander, so that's okay. However, because of the way we designed the lander to have RCS fuel, we are now packing a lot of extra weight that we don't need. So we shed the weight. The weight has been shed. You can see it's right there. Shed. Effectively shed. I probably could have used the light as well. That would have helped, but it's okay. Because Matt Dorf-Kerbal is an expert in emergent field engineering in space. He is one of the best. And he's one of the best for a reason. Let's go ahead and get out of docking mode. We are sufficiently separated from the debris. I'm not too worried about colliding with it anymore. We're going to control the ship from the command module. And there's some extra debris floating around, but it's fine. Yeah, I am a big believer in squeezing every last drop of performance out of a ship. Even if it endangers the mission. We may have made a slight whoopsie by going around twice, but it should be fine. It should be fine. We can still make the intercept. Yeah, we can still make the intercept. Set that as the target. Let's go back to our node, and I want to see Kerbal apoapsis. No, not Kerbal apoapsis. I want to see Mun periapsis. There we go. (735 meters per second delta V). Oh, too far, too far, too far. Let's go back, go back. Too far again. Shoot. Shoot. I need a finer adjustment. That's fine. That'll do. Okay. Lock prograde. I could have, but I've already got more than enough RCS in that thing. I'm not going to need that much. I have 114 more to go, and I only need to do two more docking maneuvers. So it would be just extra, right? It's just extra that we don't need. Okay, here we are. We're lined up. 34 seconds to the node. We'll start the burn now. Make sure we don't hit any debris. Nope, all the debris is behind us. Everything is looking appropriate up here. I don't have any solar panels on my command module. I don't really need them, though. I'm not doing any science, and I'm not transmitting anything. And this thing has big enough batteries to stand alone. I've got the solar panels here. And for the short duration that these two are separate, that'll be fine. It'll be sufficient. We'll make a slight course change to better target the actual maneuver node on the burn there. All right. All right. Mission is a go. We had a little Apollo 14 moment there, but it's fine. If you guys don't know, Apollo 14 had issues docking the command module with the LEM, almost to the point they had to abort the mission. So the way the docking adapter worked is it would basically had a set of latches on springs that would go into this cone. So this probe would go into the cone. When it got to the base of the cone and was fully seated, the latches would expand and grab the back of the inside of the cone. And then from there, they could retract the docking probe and mate the two spacecraft. And the latches weren't working. We had a similar issue there. Not the docking itself, but the additional stuff going on around the docking we were having some issues with. But we adjudicated them and we're fine. All right, that is our orbit. Nice and close periapsis with the moon. Nothing crazy. And we're off. We've got plenty of electric charge. And our solar panels are keeping us topped off. Yeah, should have no issues from this point forward. All right, we are at the moon. And let's just go ahead and bring ourselves into our desired orbit. Now, I kind of want to... What's our inclination right now? 12.9. I want to get equatorial if I can, but we'll do that after the capture burn. Let's go retrograde. That's good. You should... I encourage you guys to put yourselves in mission control shoes. You can be flight. And we need someone to be comms. Someone to be our systems guy. Get the whole mission control team in here. I'm all for it. All right. Beginning our Mooner capture burn. I want to get down nice and low. Probably about 20 meters. 20,000 meters. Not 20 meters. 20,000 meters. Jeez. Nice and low and tight. Probably even lower. Let's get it down to 15. There we go. All right, we're going to go through a bit of a blackout here. We are going through some of our battery in this blackout, but it's okay because the solar panels are more than enough to keep us topped off. Okay. Now we are at Moon Periapsis. There's our spacecraft looking good. So far, no issues. No unovercomable issues, I should say. We've had some issues, but nothing crazy. All right, that's good enough. 15 to 16,000 meters. It doesn't show me an ascending node, which is unfortunate, but we can make do with an approximation at this point. So let's burn anti-normal to the south. Yep, that's 180 right there. And we can just gut check ourselves. Yep, the craft is pointing down. And I will have to fix my orbit. That's fine. Okay, that's good enough. All right. We are in orbit. Now, let's start the planning process. So we could take down an engineer or we could take down the pilot. Do we take down Mattdorf or Debris? I say we take down Debris. We take the pilot down, right? Oh, wrong button. Hold on. Board. Transfer crew. Transfer Debris to the modules. There we go. There we go. All right. So Debris is now piloting over here, and we can view our Kerbals. We got the two here in the command module. And then we've got Debris down there in the landing module. So here's the view from the command module. Look at that view of the moon. Beautiful. And then we have Debris down here in the lander. She is ready to go. Software glitch, update before flight. Don't forget. It's okay. I updated it. It's all right. Picture of home. Reminder, close the hatch. The hatch is closed. Pre-flight checklist. Get permission to use ship. Yes. Turn off oven. Check. Check for missing parts. We'll come back to that one. Tighten loose screws. Check. Sit in the chair. Check. Whoop, too close. Turn on ship systems. Yeah, light. Yeah, looks good. All right, check. Check snack levels. Snack bin. Where's the snack bin? Where's my snack bin? It's probably behind my seat. We'll come back to that one. What else? Run systems diagnostics. Run. Okay. Check radio contact. Yeah, radio contact looks good. Engage SAS. SAS is engaged. Look at that. Reminder. Remember helmet? I think that just says remember helmet. Remember EVA helmet. There we go. If I zoom out, it's better to read. And close airlock hatch. Hatch is secured. I have my helmet in here. We are ready to go. I'm going to undock the ships. We're going to control from here. Undock. I'm just going to point away. SAS is engaged. Now we're going to just do a very simple burn with our little Terrier rocket. We'll activate the engine. This is just to get us away from the command module. I'm now going to lock our orbit retrograde. And once we are clear, we'll fire this engine. Now we are coming down in the lunar midlands, it looks like. We could wait and we could put it down in that crater. At this point, there's no rush. We're in an equatorial orbit, so the rendezvous will be not too tricky. We also have plenty of fuel for the rendezvous, so I'm not worried about that. I say we wait. We do a pass. We've already explored this crater. I don't think we've explored this crater yet, so we're going to do a pass. And deorbit. Ready to go. Engines on. We've got a thrust to weight ratio of 5. Have you ever tried going to Duna before? I have. I've gone to Duna before. Not in a career mode, but just playing in the sandbox, yeah. It's not super complicated. Not super hard to get to. It's more complicated, but not unbearably challenging, I guess you could say. All right, we're burning fuel. Everything looks good so far. Debris is doing well. She's cool, calm, and collected under pressure. The KSP Lunar Ranger is slowly getting away from us, but that's okay. I'm going to throttle way down here. Way down. While I'm at it, just check the name. KSP-3 Lunar Ranger 3 Lander. That's fine. It's fine for a name for now. Let's begin the descent. Deploy the gear. Gear is down. I don't know if the gear fully clears that engine bell. That's probably fine. Let's go ahead and do our second deceleration burn here. All right, we're going to keep it out of time warp from this point forward. And we're going to keep some thrust on just to control our rate of descent. $800, $700, $600. Throttle down. Yeah, we've actually got 5 landing gears counting the engine bell, so it's fine. Okay, coming down nice and slow, nice and smooth. A little bit conservative of a landing profile for debris, but it's fine. I do want to find a moonstone, which is going to require some walking, I fear. But other than that, this should be pretty straightforward. Okay, let's start shedding those last couple of meters per second. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's fine. It clears. All right, extend the lander ladder. And that's it. That's the surface. So we'll take pressure. We'll take temperature. Take a crew report. We'll do the mystery goo. Keep all of it. We're going to EVA. We're going to take a surface sample, and we're going to get a moonstone. And that'll be the mission. We'll plant a flag. That's actually what we're here for. This whole mission is just to plant a flag on the moon. Docking the 2 vessels on or around the moon will come next as the second part of the mission. But stage 1 of the mission is complete. We have planted our flag. Lunar landing site. Bravo. Debris Kerman made an exciting solo landing on the surface of the moon. That's good enough. Excellent. We have our flag. Look at Debris. She's super excited to be here. Definitely not at all nervous that her friends are already making preparations to leave her. EVA report. Surface sample. And that about wraps it up. We didn't bring an EVA science kit, which is kind of a silly oversight on my part. For all that mission planning, we forgot the science kit. But it's fine. We need to find ourselves a moonstone. I think that's one right there. So let's start walking, shall we? Just kidding. We're going to jetpack. And we forgot the RCS. No, we did not forget the RCS. Oh, you mean the RCS earlier. Yeah. Okay, so there have been multiple oversights, but you know what? Oversights in mission planning is kind of a cornerstone of the Kerbal Space Program gameplay loop, you know? It's like, it's almost all that the program's about, is just making stupid mistakes that you definitely didn't need to make, but did anyway, and then learning from them. I don't know if I can do anything with these craters. There's a moonstone over here I can see. Oh. Let's lower our visor. The visor looks cool. That was not the best landing of Debris' career, but that's okay. How are we doing on RCS fuel? 3.25. I don't know if we can do anything with these. I know you can use the scanner arms to investigate these, obviously. You forgot the lander. Well, that's going to be limiting. Can I do anything inside it? Like if I land inside the thing, can I take a surface sample of it? That's the same. Okay. All right, where's that moonstone? It's somewhere over here. There's a small impact crater. There it is. That's the moonstone right there. Okay. So we just need to go a little bit farther. But it is in front of us. Debris doing her extravehicular activities in her extravehicular activity suit. There's the moonstone. There it is. Okay. Let's just puff, puff, puff. Nice and easy. I don't want to burn through all of my RCS fuel and then be stuck. And have to walk. Oh my god, if we had to walk back. Kill me now. We might have to walk the rest of the way. It is quite a jaunt. Let's see if we can just walk. Can I time accelerate? No, I cannot. Can I do RCS assisted hops for speed? All right, we might just force this. Let's turn RCS off for a second. I'm going to save the 2.22 fuel for the return trip. And we're going to walk. I can see the moonstone. It's right there. That is a moonstone, right? I am walking towards a moonstone. It'd be also embarrassing if I burned all this. Yeah. That's a moonstone. We are walking towards a moonstone. It would be very embarrassing if I walk all that way and it's just another small crater I can't pick up. I would be embarrassed. But, I mean, this is a beautiful view. Look at that. The surface of the moon. And Debris is probably going to spend the most time on her feet on the moon of any Kerbal. Jebediah, Bill, and Bob spent several weeks on the surface of the moon due to some poor planning with Delta V management for the return trip. But that's different. That's a different story altogether. You know, we don't talk about that. No, this will be fine. There's the moonstone right there. It's very tempting to use the RCS thrusters. I think we're going to use them. I think we can make it. No, no sticky keys. No, no sticky keys. Ah, stupid sticky keys. Okay, all right. Sticky keys told me to stop using my thrusters for this. We're gonna walk the rest of the way. We're very close. We're very close. It's right there. See, and there we are, plodding along. We're almost there. While we're walking along, is there any issues with the stream quality, frame dropping, buffering? Any issues you guys are having on your end? I'm trying to get some more data points to just make sure that my stream software setup is good, and that it doesn't need to be tweaked. It is. That's you hit shift a lot of times. Are you trying to get sticky keys? No, I'm not trying to get sticky keys. Yeah. The stutters during loading, that is a game computer thing, not a stream software setup thing. I'm not worried about those. I'm just talking about steady state, you know, right now. Is it looking weird or anything? Because it looks fine on my end, but that doesn't mean it looks good on your end. All right, we're very, very close. Some would say we're right on top of it. Pick up the Munstone. All right. We got it. So we've already recovered a Moonstone in the past. But we're recovering this one because we want to put this one in the orbital lab for additional analysis. That's the idea, at least. Okay, off we go. 18.6 meters per second. I don't want to go much faster for fear of bashing my skull. And if need be, I want enough reserve propellant that I can come to a safe stop. A few starters at the moment? Okay. Well, every once in a while, I look over at YouTube and it's like, your stream is about to kill itself, and then nothing happens. And then every once in a while, it's like, excellent. And then, I'm going to die. And it can't make up its mind. Okay, here we go. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Bounce. This is fine. That's fine. This is fine. That's fine. Honestly, Debris, if you can tuck and roll somehow to ensure that your body doesn't take any fatal damage, and then you just go from there, that'd be great. We're at the bottom of our RCS thruster tank. 10 meters per second. I'm going to brake and let her roll. Is this comfortable? No, but that is all of our RCS monopropellant. Now we're pretty close. We're only 184 meters away. That's walkable. It'll take us a couple minutes, but it's walkable. Debris is an absolute champ. She has managed to keep a good, positive attitude about all of this, which is great. She's a kind of veteran pilot now. $150 and closing in. Yeah, YouTube. I created the YouTube channel, and because I wanted to make videos, and I made videos for a couple years, and I enjoyed it. And eventually I just kind of got tired of the process and trying to chase clicks. And so I kind of tapered off making videos, but I did enjoy live streaming on this channel. So I started doing more live streams on the channel and kind of stopped doing videos altogether. I still plan on doing a couple in the future, but really I don't do videos too much anymore. I just really do live streams now. And so I'm kind of committed to YouTube, but I don't love YouTube's live streaming services. And I think I will make the jump to Twitch, but not yet. Not right now, at least. Can you go to Duna right now? Brother, I've got an astronaut on the ground on the moon. We got priorities. Eventually I'm going to go to Duna. Again, I'm playing career mode on the hardest difficulty, so you can't just like whip together a mission and send it. You need to plan stuff out. Have I thought about streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the same time? Yes, but I need to look at the performance requirements. My computer is a decent mid-range computer. I built it in college. It's got okay hardware that runs most things fine, but when you start multitasking, it can start to bog down. And so I've got it set up now to where I can stream to YouTube just fine. Oh, I appreciate that, B. Dolan W. They're not the best. I make no argument about them being the best. I've always done it for fun, not for profession. But you should check out my Juno New Origins series. I've got a ton of videos on that game. It's very similar to Kerbal Space Program, made by a different studio. Slightly different design choices with Juno New Origins from Kerbal Space Program. One of the cool things I like about that game over KSP is it's a lot faster and lighter to run. In fact, it's so lightweight as a piece of software goes that they have a mobile version that you can play. And it'll run on not great phones perfectly fine. I can run that game maximum graphic settings, 60 frames steady, and stream or record, no issue. This game, it's a lot heavier piece of software, not nearly as well optimized, and so I can run it on max graphics if that's all I'm doing, or I can run it on kind of your average graphics and stream. I love JNO, Juno New Origins. It used to be called Simple Rockets 2. It was originally what it was called. Can I not store? Oh, I guess I'll just board. Well, let me take the data from these. Take data. Let's get closer to this. Is that close enough? No, do I need to get out? Okay. Yeah, like KSP is just struggles. It just struggles and it crashes and it'll bleed your memory or eat up your graphics card without really needing to. It's just not an efficient game. It's older, built by an indie studio, and it's a victim of what's the term called? Technical debt, where the software you're designing gets more and more complex as you add more and more features, but you don't optimize, and so it ends up just getting overburdened by all these new pieces of code that you've added. Okay, so slight problem. We're not connected to the curb net, and I don't see my ship. Oh, there we go. There's the ship. All right, so it's on the far side. Let's set it as the target and wait for it to come around. And as it comes around, we should get CurbNet access again. Oh, there we go. We got a satellite passing overhead, so we've got CurbNet access, which is great. As this thing comes around, we will launch for it. We just need to head east. About there should be good. Throttle up and point. That's west. This is east. All right, we're going to go burn straight for the horizon. Let's retract the landing gear. So far, so good on the launch. No issues of note. Track the ladder. Button up the ship. Good to go. All right, now we're going to need to raise our apoapsis up. Up, 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 up. We're a little off plane. I'm going to burn north to correct. There we go. Let's go prograde. We're going to be just in front of him. That's okay. Because what we're going to do is we'll have time to do this rendezvous. Going to come up here to our apoapsis. Let's get into orbit. Minmus, more like Mimus. Mimus. All right. Let's get into orbit, and then we're going to... Now that we're in orbit... I almost timed that perfectly, which would have been super cool. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So instead... Oh, hold on. Hold on. We're doing some orbital mechanics shenanigans. Wrong way. I did it the wrong way again. Hold on. Back this way. Stop. There we go. Go prograde. Yeah, I like thinking out loud. Some people hate it when I do it, like at work, but I am a out loud thinker. Okay, so I've got my apoapsis and my periapsis lined up. Let's take a look at my intersect now. We can start adjusting it. There's our separation. Boom. 300 meter separation as we come around. So we'll do one more orbit as a pair. Switch to target view. And again, I'm going to use the lander's fuel for most of the maneuvering. And then I'm going to use the command module's RCS for the dock. That's the plan. Yeah, I talk out loud all the time. Some people find it annoying, but it does come in handy for things like this, where I'm working through some kind of technical problem. We'll wait till we get closer to our intersect. There we go. All right. We're going all of this will now be in the visual frame of reference because I like to see the thing I'm coming towards. First, let's get that vector over the target vector, which is looking pretty close now. Good. Now I'm going to point retrograde, and as we pass, we'll do a retrograde burn-in. We should be very, very close. Looking good. We're at 300 meters and closing. 200 meters in closing, and now you can see the target vector and the retrograde vector are starting to separate, and that's due to our orbits being slightly different. We're accelerating in different directions. We're in a rotating reference frame, which is making everything complicated, but it's close enough that I can now use the lander's engine to kill the last of my orbital velocity. And just to finish it off, we will point, not there, point at the command module to make the docking easy. I could just EVA her over, but I do want to get the fuel, right? That's important to me. and I don't have a pilot on this module. Okay. So, problem. I have no pilot on board. And my command module is the one that I was going to use for the docking. But doing this without a pilot is going to be difficult. So, actually, we are going to EVA her across the gap, but we're still going to do the docking maneuver. So I'm going to jump. Step away. And EVA across the gap. She's going to get in, and then she's going to pilot the command module back to the lander. Okay, turn SAS on. Still the target. RCS on. Shut down the engine. Go to docking mode. Let's start closing the gap to the target here. Nice and easy in the docking. Nice and easy in the docking. Turn off RCS for a second. We're going to kind of line up a little bit better. Okay, RCS back on. Linear again. All right, now I'm just trying to get this prograde vector. Really, I'm trying to get the crosshairs, my actual ship's angle, pointed at the target. And then use the RCS to get my prograde vector lined up. Looks like we're about lined up, so I'm going to push forward. Push down a little bit. And there we go. Now, my RCS thrusters are not really squared up on my center of gravity, which is why it's all funky, but it's good enough for government work. So let's transfer these contents. Should be able to transfer them, right? Wait, I should be able to transfer these. They're docked, right? How do I transfer contents? Chat, help! I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Ah, I'm scared! So this enables and disables. Got that. Let's shut that guy down. Oh. It's enabled. Disable, enable. Disable, enable. So, like, this engine will use this fuel. I got that part. But... Hold on. It's just not giving me an option to transfer the fuel. Enable crossfeed. Enable crossfeed. Right? Oh, the heat shield? I didn't bring a fuel hose. I should have brought a fuel hose. Gosh dang it. Okay. Okay. Well. We have an engineering challenge in front of us. Oh, this guy? Oh, you brilliant man. Well, it's enabled. And I don't have a decoupler up here. I thought this was easy. This was supposed to be easy. What am I missing? Disable. Yeah, I re-enabled. So, enable. 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 That should be it. The only thing I'm thinking is, and this shouldn't be a thing, but there's a heat shield here and just a decoupler, maybe, but that really shouldn't be a thing, right? All right, Google time. Why can't I transfer fuel in KSB? Can't transfer fuel in KSB 1.2. I built a station. Research and development station level 2. I have that. Hold on. We're researching. No. I don't want to give up so easily, but I'm tempted to give up. Wait, hold on. I might be stupid. I may be stupid. Aha! In. Out. In. Right? Is that? I have them both selected. I have. In. Lizard. What am I? Maybe, but it shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case that this blocks it. It should not be the case. These numbers should be changing. In. Am I crazy? This is okay. We should have enough Delta V to finish the mission as designed without doing this. But we're going to do one thing real quick. All right. So as not to delay, because I do want to get on with it, but we are going to do one thing real quick. I'm going to take these solar panels off. We're going to salvage the solar panels. Reduce, reuse, recycle, my mama always told me. So we're going to throw these on. This is just another effort in our mission weight conservation program. We'll also throw the batteries on. We're going to just take 4 of the batteries. I said earlier I was going to leave this as a satellite. That's dumb. I'm not going to do that. I don't need to do that. Why would I bother doing that? We've already got satellites, and this orbit is not a good communication satellite orbit. It's not benefiting us enough to be worth it. 1, 2... Missing 1. Give me you. 3, 4. Okay, we got 4 batteries, 4 satellites. And you know what? I'll take the science as well. Because what I can do with this is when we go to the station, I can take temperature and pressure surveys as we go. And we can use them on the station. So let's Let's just start planning as though we are not going to have that as an option. Undock. Pull away. All right. So we're separated. Let's take log pressure data. Keep. Log temperature data. Keep. We'll EVA our scientist buddy. Take data. Take data. Oh. You know what else we could do? Hold on. Real quick. EVA. On the fly construction. There we go. We can find that a better home here in a second. Honestly, let's just put it center line in the middle. Or no, let's put it up here. There we go. All right, that's good. Board. All right, we've got all the science that I care to get out of this. We'll keep that. We'll EVA our scientist guy, Bob. Take an EVA report while we're here. Collect the data and restore. We'll board again. Use our RCS thrusters to just push clear of the lander. All right, it's time to plan our return. So we're equatorial, which makes it easy enough. We don't need to wait for some alignment of our orbit. We can just go for it. And so we're going to go for it. We get to 120 meter periapsis. And that will do it. Can deorbit the lander. I can, actually. So we might as well do that. Let's go map view. SAS on. Retrograde. Because it did have a John on board. A probe. I just need to activate the engine. Good call, Jebuovic. Good call. Deorbit the lander. Cut down on space junk. I have no seismic probes on the surface of the moon right now, so I'm not going to be able to take advantage of that. But we will be able to get rid of a piece of junk, which is good. It's good. And we're up to 7 viewers. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. I'll give everyone the quick rundown. Quick and dirty. We're playing Kerbal Space Program Career Mode with the Faster Than Light mod pack. And we're playing it on the hardest difficulty. And that hardest difficulty is kicking my butt. For sure. We're learning lots of valuable hard lessons about being thorough in our mission planning. And other great tips and tricks to not strand Kerbals on foreign planets. I should probably activate my engines. There we go. And we're off for our lunar ejection burn. We still have like 2,000 meters per second. You know, we're fine. We're fine. I was trying to pinch pennies when I didn't need to be pinching pennies. We've got the budget for this. This is why I went for the big fuel tank. We're fine. We're fine. Ain't nothing to stress about, guys. Let's finish that burn. We're at 101,000. That's a quick correction we can make once we get prograde here. Very small, gentle adjustment. There we go. All right, so we're closing in on Kerbal orbit here. It was fate. If you could have deorbited it. Yeah, it's true. Research Station Omega, set that as the target. We're actually inside its orbit, so I'm going to burn radial out. Good enough. And retrograde. We still have 1,500 meters per second of delta V, which is so much. So much. So much. Don't even sweat it. How does that not count? We certainly did dock 2 vessels. Okay, I hate some of these missions sometimes, man. I hate some of these missions. Let's go stability assist. That's the wrong. I always pick the wrong one between normal and anti-normal. I go down. That was too much. Go back. Other way. Okay, that's good enough. Lock retrograde. And burn. So this is going to take a little bit. What am I trying to do? Well, I just landed on the moon. We rendezvoused with our command module. And now I am trying to dock with an orbital station. We're going to drop off all of the research supplies from that mission on our orbital station. And then we will... here we go. That's an interesting little factoid, is we actually get an intercept here. It'll be a fast intercept, but we do get an intercept here. Let's come around and do an intercept. Anyway, so we did a bunch of research, got a bunch of things from the surface of the moon, and now we're going to return to our station. And we're going to give the research station all of our new fun stuff. That's the long and short of it. So, one, I'm going to cancel out a lot of my speed, but I actually want to leave a little bit of my speed up. Okay, so what's our intersect now? Oh, hold on. Let's go prograde real quick. I overdid it. Well, no, let's just get into parallel orbits, and then we can do a fine-tune adjustment from there. So let's get to our intercept point, right? So we're close now. Kill off the relative velocity altogether. And we've got 374, so the rest of this is going to be done with RCS. No, we're not going to do that. That'd be ridiculous. We're not going to do that with RCS. We'll use the main engine. We're just going to be a little bit more judicious about it, right? So I am still behind. And that's our closest to point of approach. Let's slow down, right? There we go. Okay, so we have 2 intersects coming up. We'll pass at 7.3 kilometers. And then more importantly, we pass at like 300 meters in 12 minutes. here pretty soon. Okay, closing in, closing in, closing in. We should be able to see it now. Where is it? I'm targeting the right thing, right? Research Station Omega. Yeah. Well, where is it? I don't see no Oh, there it is. I found it. It's right there. Okay. Let's point at the target. There we go. There we go. There we go. And then just a gentle push. There we go. All right. So let's lock prograde. Nope. Let's lock retrograde, actually. We're still kind of far away for me to plan anything, right? As far as our approach to this thing. There's the station right there. So we want to come over the top, which I think we will. Okay. Let's give it a little bit of a time warp as we fly towards it. Closing in. 100. I'm just going to point off axis. Very gentle push. Okay. Nice and easy. So the docking's here. We're just going to take it nice and slow. I've got 353 meters per second of delta V left. That should be enough to deorbit us. We'll shed a little bit of weight as well. And then, yeah, that'll be it. One other option we could, instead of docking the module to the station, is we dock the station to the module, but I think I would rather burn my extra monopropellant and get it off. Okay. Almost there. We're just going to let it pass a little bit farther. But there is the station. Let's throw a thrust limiter on this. Okay. Deactivate the engine. RCS on. RCS off, actually. Let's point at the target. Or line up with the target, I should say. I guess I'm not close enough to get it there, I guess. Okay, whatever. We'll go docking mode. And push towards it. And we're much lighter now. So our RCS thrusters are actually a lot snappier as far as response goes, which is good. Can't you tell this station to face towards you? I could, but no need right now. That's an option. But instead, I'm going to orient my spacecraft with the station. All right, let's get our vectors lined up. Slightly farther down, slightly farther down. All right, that looks close to lined up. Now I just need to get all three of these things on each other. Make slight little tweaks, slight little tweaks. And it should dock pretty smoothly. Alrighty, so that's the station docked. We got 4 Kerbals all hanging out together here, which is great. We love to see it. What we can do, let's see for a second, if you shall humor me. Transfers are just fine. Yeah, transfers are just fine. Let's see what the issue is. Okay, just making sure I wasn't absolutely losing my marbles there. Okay. All of those together in. Okay. Station has not really used any RCS thruster fuel, which is fine. Here's what we're going to do. Bob is going to transfer over to the station. So let's transfer crew. Oh no, team, we've made a vital error. Gentlemen, we've made a tactical blunder. Where's the science? We forgot the science. The science was on the landing module. No! Oh, dang it. I'm going to drink this beer. She did not. She did not. I forgot. Well, we got some science from the surface of the moon. And that stuff is gone. Can't even transmit it. It's gone. Which is unfortunate. Whoopsies. My bad, guys. Well, this... I know. I was so confident it was fine, but it's not fine. Well, you can see the station from there. That's nice. And here's the view from inside the station. That's nice, too. Well. We did so we got some. It's not like we got nothing. We got some things, right? So we got data from around the moon because we ran experiments using the command module. That all obviously got here just fine, but nothing else. So that sucks. Here's what we're going to do, though, so that we don't call it a total waste. We're gonna make some additions, right? We're gonna make some additions to our satellite station here. We're gonna take these extra solar panels because why not? You know, we've got them on hand, and they'll make nice little additions to the station. Give us a little bit more power generation while it's in the sun. So we'll go ahead and mount those. We've got a couple of batteries as well. No sense in leaving them behind if we don't have to. Rotate. You're not going to rotate for me? No, you really don't want to rotate. Okay. That's fine, I guess. We'll just put you down wherever then. That goo canister isn't going to do us anything. But, you know, these monopropellant tanks wouldn't hurt to have a little extra. So we'll put these in between the heat shields. Like so. That looks nice. Nice little addition. I don't need any extra RCS on this thing. It's got plenty of RCS. I don't need extra research, really. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Why not have an extra goo canister, I guess, you know? And redundant experiments. You know, redundancy is good. Redundancy is good. Redundancy is good. So redundant experiments is fine. That's fine. We'll ditch all those. It's 8 a.m. for you and you haven't slept? Dude, it's 1:43 in the morning and I gotta get up not super early, but, you know, reasonably early in the morning. You and I both need to go to sleep. So we're gonna get these Kerbals down to Kerbin. And then we're gonna call it a night, I think. So let's separate. Oh, that's a cool view. Wasn't a cool audio effect, but it was a cool view. Get ourselves lined up. We did actually, by offloading all that extra cargo, we bought ourselves another 12 meters per second of Delta V, which is nice. It's a nice addition. Yay! I could have put that docking port on there too, I suppose, if I could find the room for it. There is the Kerbal Space Center. Sure, let's deorbit about here. We're running low on electric charge, but not on RCS fuel, which is good. Let's go ahead and get rid of docking mode. We can turn that off. Activate the engine again. And do our deorbit burn. Periapsis is... Oh. I was about to say, like, oh, man, this is taking forever. There we go. There we go. That should plop us down in the ocean. Perfect. In the ocean, right in front of the Kerbal Space Center. All that out of the way. We separate. And we time accelerate. So here we are. Rotate the command module around. There we go. Let's just put it back on the automatic camera. All right, time warp. The heat shield. This is a pretty thick atmospheric reentry. Like, we're just going to plummet. So the forces are going to be very high. But the ablator will hold for sure. And the module comes down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Parachutes release. 1. Parachutes open. Boom. Okay. Well, you know, they came back. I mean, something crazy could happen right now, and then they wouldn't come back. But they came back. We got them back. Not a huge waste of money in my book. Just a mostly huge waste of money. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. Other than all the things that went terribly wrong, it was a great mission. We had no deaths. We had no deaths. And we did complete a contract, and we did drop some science off at the orbital station. And really, here's what happened, is we proved the concept of that mission, right? We proved that we could get to the moon, land, come back, dock with the station, offload the science. We did all those things. There's a couple of changes to the design we can make. That flag was planted with gusto. There's a couple of changes we can make here to prevent some of those shortfalls that we encountered. First of which, and we're going to edit this. We're going to edit this right now before I forget. We're going to strike while the iron's hot. I'm not going to launch another mission, so if you're here waiting for me to launch another mission, this is the end of the stream. But if you'd like to stick around, we're going to correct some mistakes we made. One, we're going to pull those RCS thrusters off. I liked the profile in not needing them and just using the command module to do the docking. The command module has plenty of monopropellant fuel, so that worked. Two, let's go ahead and add a set of solar panels to the command module. It doesn't hurt. Three, let's go cargo. And throw some fuel lines in the cargo here so that we can, in a pinch, transfer fuel across. Or at least we should be able to. Even if it means just getting the vessels close together. And I guess also in that vein, let's throw a couple of struts down so that we could potentially tie the two vessels together. Again, in a pinch if we need to. Communications, I think we're fine. That solves that problem. My only thought is the angle, right? Because you're attaching from the side of the tank to the side of the tank, and I don't think there's actually an angle that would work there. But in a pinch, we could bring the two vessels alongside, cancel out all their motion, use the struts to hold them together, and then do the fuel transfer. Also an option. Other things. The lander itself. The lander itself worked just fine. It worked as designed. We don't really have the capacity to do much more with that lander, except I'll throw a EVA science kit in there. Simple thing to fix. And that about does it to fix our issues. We'll call this Ranger 4. We'll save it. And in a future stream, I'll be streaming tomorrow, relatively around the same time. Probably a little earlier in the afternoon, but going for a little longer. We'll reattempt that mission. We do have other options popping up, so we could do a continuation of operations contract, as I like to call them. A COO contract. So we've already got spacecraft in orbit around Minmus, so I can accept this contract and just do that real easy. Not interested in that. Well, eventually we'll go to Minmus, but not right now. Well, we've already been. Eventually we'll go back to Minmus, but not right now. Let's real quick recoup some of our losses. Let me find MinSat. Also, let's terminate all these monopropellant tanks I left floating. Okay. There's MinSat 1. I swear I had another one. MinSat 2's right there. Well, yeah, let's use MinSat 1. Let's fly this real quick. All we got to do is transmit a piece of data from this thing, and we complete the contract. That's easy. It's very easy to do. So we'll do it. That's about the easiest thing we can do. We don't talk about the monotake scandal. Hey, that was a demonstration of Kerbal field engineering like nothing else. Let's log pressure data, transmit. Transmitted away, contract complete. Boom, see? Spacecraft's already in position to accomplish that. So we can make a little bit of money. No added effort. Simple. Efficient. I like it like that. All right. Pending any other contracts like that, that's where we're going to leave this live stream. We had a good run. We did get a lot of progress. We've got our orbital station up, which is really kind of the goal of the stream, was to build that. We did a couple other contracts. There's other stuff to do. And, you know, these are all interesting. I'm getting contracts implying that I should go to Minmus next. So maybe I will. Maybe I will. Maybe we'll go to Minmus instead of the moon. Do the whole same mission. Dock with the orbiting station. And forget all the science data a second time. Build a new orbital station on a solar orbit. 9 Kerbals, 6,000 units of fuel. What? That's crazy. That's a crazy contract for them to offer me. We're already doing the fundraising campaign. I can't do any other things right now, so that's fine. All right, well, I'm going to leave the live stream off now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed streaming it for you. And if you want to see more, I'm going to make these into a playlist as we go, so you can watch them all in order as we progress. It'll probably be multiple days worth by the time we get to the end. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but we're making good progress. Our Space Center is starting to look nice. We've got all sorts of stuff out there. So I appreciate everyone who's tuned in and watched so far. Thank you, B, Dolan W, for all the help. You actually were great help. Customizable, you too. Appreciate all your on-the-fly troubleshooting. Can't go anywhere without my control room. So take care, everyone, and I will see you in the next live stream.